Chapter 4189. What? Our Lord God was defeated by that Gu-Fei? When the news reached the central divine area, the entire place boiled up. Everybody couldn't believe it. Qianyu was the strongest God Lord. However, when Qianyu sent a message back asking all the forces in the central celestial realm to surrender, the experts of the major forces in the central celestial realm knew that Qianyu had really been defeated by Gu-Fei. As a result, quite a big riot broke out in the central divine realm. On the third day after Gu-Fei defeated Qianyu, he sent someone to deal with the central divine area's affairs. Qianyu was extremely gloomy when he returned to the central divine area. When he had left the central divine area, he was still the supreme number one expert in the heavenly God realm. However, when he returned, he had become someone else's slave. I have traveled the world and defeated all the invincible experts in the heavenly God realm. I didn't expect that I would be defeated by that guy. Qianyu was resentful. Kill them if they don't surrender. Qianyu directly sent out the message. What? All the forces in the central divine area were watching. Shortly, the place where Qianyu was staying was packed with people. Everybody wanted to live. However, some would rather die than surrender. With regards to these people, Qianyu's method was simple. He would kill them all. With Qianyu leading the way, Gu-Fei didn't need to spend much effort to get to the central divine area. After Qianyu had reconstructed his body, his cultivation base seemed to have become stronger. The heavenly God realm's origin of heaven and earth was at the incipient God mountain. This time, Gu-Fei only brought the Dark Knight Emperor, Death God 9, and the True Dragon Emperor to the central divine area. Besides Death God 9, the other two had never been to the incipient God mountain before. They were very curious about the sacred mountain of the heavenly God realm. When Qianyu brought Gu-Fei's group to the foot of the incipient God mountain, besides Gu-Fei and Death God 9, the Dark Knight Emperor and the True Dragon Emperor were stunned by the sacred mountain. The mountain was so tall that it reached the clouds. They couldn't see the peak. The heaven and earth spirit energy around the sacred mountain was so thick that it couldn't be dispersed. Cultivating in this divine land would yield twice the result with half the effort. Qianyu led everyone up the mountain and very quickly, they reached the peak. At the peak of the mountain, there was a large hall. Qianyu walked directly towards the main hall and brought everyone to the front of the main hall. Master, please follow me. Qianyu pushed open the door and walked in. There was nothing in the main hall except for a huge formation diagram on the ground. This formation diagram seemed to have been created by nature. Each rune contained a powerful aura. Teleportation array? At a glance, Gu-Fei could tell that the array on the ground was a teleportation array. However, this teleportation array seemed to have not been activated for a long time. Master, please. Qianyu said as he walked into the teleportation array. Gu-Fei glanced at Qianyu before following suit. The Dark Knight Emperor and the others wanted to go forward, but they were stopped by Gu-Fei, who asked them to wait here. Qianyu activated the teleportation array. The entire array lit up, and in the next instant, a ball of divine light appeared as the two of them disappeared from the great hall. Just as Gu-Fei appeared in the void, something suddenly attacked him. The surroundings were dark and the mysterious living being was hidden in the darkness. Qianyu was nowhere to be seen. Brat, are you here to die? At this moment, an eerie voice rang out in the darkness. Who are you? Gu-Fei said coldly. Who am I? I've lived for too long. I don't even know who I am anymore. That voice rang out. Where's Qianyu? Gu-Fei asked. Qianyu? That little brat brought you here? You're thinking of stealing the origin energy of heaven and earth? The voice of the person in the dark turned cold. So what if I am? Gu-Fei said indifferently. At this moment, a vertical mark appeared on his forehead. The origin energy of heaven and earth is mine. Go to hell. The person in the dark roared. In the next moment, a black shadow appeared behind Gu-Fei without a sound. The black shadow stretched out its right hand and grabbed towards Gu-Fei. The 5 fingers of the person emitted a dark light that pierced through the void like a sharp sword. However, in the next moment, Gu Fei's figure disappeared in the void. The mysterious person's attack missed. At the same time, Gu Fei's fist had already arrived in front of the mysterious man. Although the fist energy was contained within it, it did not explode. However, if this fist hit the target, the power contained within the fist would instantly explode. The tyrannical power was enough to blast anyone apart. What? The mysterious person was obviously shocked. He never thought that Gu Fei would be so powerful. The mysterious person floated away like a ghost. Gu Fei's punch also landed in the void and did not hit anything. Qian Yu, that brat. At this moment, Gu Fei finally knew what Qian Yu was planning. Was he trying to get someone else to do his dirty work? However, he could already feel the existence of the origin energy of heaven and earth. The origin energy of heaven and earth was definitely nearby. As long as he defeated this guy, he would be able to obtain the origin energy of heaven and earth. Rumble. Gu Fei was ruthless. A strong wave of energy immediately spread from his body. The surrounding void rippled like transparent water. Go to hell. Gu Fei's hands moved in front of him. Rays of divine light appeared in the void and directly turned into divine swords that pierced towards the mysterious person. Sword principle? The person seemed a little surprised. He suddenly opened his mouth and inhaled. The countless sword lights that pierced towards him were all swallowed by him. Gu Fei's heart moved. This guy actually dared to swallow his sword lights. It was really despicable. After the sword lights were swallowed by this guy, he could not sense them anymore. Swoosh! Gu Fei did not waste any time and directly punched. His fist moved quickly and rubbed against the air, creating a piercing sound. The mysterious person immediately retreated. He was not willing to fight with Gu Fei because he could already see that Gu Fei had a strong divine body and strength. Humph! Gu Fei was very disdainful. These guys were the most annoying. There was no other way. He had to end this quickly. As Gu Fei said this, he directly used the eternal real eye. In the next moment, a ray of divine light rushed out from between his eyebrows and turned into a divine sword that slashed towards the mysterious person. The sword shadow flashed in the void and one of the mysterious person's arms fell off. Roar! The mysterious man roared into the sky. His broken arm turned into ashes, and in the next moment, a new arm grew out of his body. In just a few seconds, the mysterious person's broken arm was completely restored. Go to hell. Chapter 4190. Gu Fei was brought to the origin of heaven and earth by Qian Yu. It was a dusky void, but the heaven and earth spiritual energy was abundant. The concentration of heaven and earth's spiritual energy was higher than anywhere else in the heavenly God world. Cultivating in such a place would naturally yield twice the result with half the effort. Even if a pig was thrown into this place, it would become a god after a long time, let alone those powerful creatures. However, not everyone could enter this place, because this was the most central place of the heavenly god realm. The entire heavenly god realm was gradually formed with this place as the starting point. Here, the origin of heaven and earth's spiritual energy was condensed. This origin of heaven and earth's spiritual energy was exactly what Gu Fei needed. However, after entering this place, Qian Yu disappeared. Then, a mysterious person suddenly attacked Gu Fei. Preposterous! Gu Fei came to his senses in an instant, and couldn't help but be furious. Qian Yu actually dared to play this trick, trying to trick him. This was too despicable. This was killing with a borrowed knife. Qian Yu wanted to use the mysterious person in the ancestral earth vein to kill Gu Fei. Swoosh! A ray of purple light suddenly appeared in the dusky heaven and earth. As the purple light flashed, a figure fell out of the void. You! The mysterious person was indescribably shocked. This fella's divine ability was so powerful. No wonder Qian Yu and the other two weren't his match. On the mysterious person's shoulder there was a wound so deep that the bone could be seen. There was blood flowing out of the wound. The mysterious person circulated his mysterious technique to heal his wound. However, he soon realized that there was a force attached to the wound, making it hard for it to heal. At this time, a figure walked out of the dusky void. Didn't you want to kill me? I'll stand here and let you kill me. Gu Fei came to the opposite side of the mysterious person and looked at him indifferently. What an arrogant fella! The mysterious person was shocked and angry. At this time, his body released a divine fire, instantly illuminating the dusky void. The wound on his shoulder was slowly healing. The force attached to the mysterious person's wound was gradually being erased. Seeing this, Gu Fei's heart skipped a beat. This guy was quite capable. One must know that the power of the eternal God's eye wasn't so easily extinguished. However, Gu Fei quickly understood. He could feel that this mysterious person had actually become one with the surrounding world, and could draw upon the surrounding energy at will. This was the power of origin of heaven and earth. In fact, the most precious part of the power of heaven and earth was the primordial violet qi. It was the ancestral qi of heaven and earth that evolved all things in the world. What Gu Fei wanted was the primordial violet qi. The primordial violet qi was a supreme treasure that countless powerhouses yearned for. If they could refine the primordial violet qi, they could become the master of a world. However, it seemed like no one in the heavenly god realm could refine the primordial violet aura. The mysterious man had been guarding the ancestral earth vein for countless years, but it seemed like he could only borrow the primordial energy for a short period of time, and he couldn't do it for long. It was unknown how long it would take for him to truly refine the primordial violet qi. Boom! In the next moment, an even stronger force erupted from the mysterious man's body. His entire body seemed to be on fire, and there were vague divine runes within the divine fire. Little guy, I was just warming up, the mysterious man said coldly. Is that so? Gu Fei smiled and said, I didn't even use 10% of my strength just now. I think I'll probably use 20% of my strength to deal with you. What did you say? The mysterious man was really angry. This guy actually dared to look down on him. This was really too despicable. One should know that even Qian Yu, Long Tsung, and Teng Yi had to consider themselves as juniors in front of him. In front of him, they were just three little guys. All right, show me what you've got, Gu Fei said impatiently. Go to hell! The mysterious man was enraged. In the next moment, he turned into a divine beast and pounced towards Gu Fei. A violent force erupted from the divine beast, causing the surrounding space to distort from the heat. It was a divine beast that looked like a qilin, a four-legged snake, and a dragon. Even though Gu Fei was experienced and knowledgeable, he had never seen such a fire-type divine beast. Is this a divine beast that doesn't look like one? Gu Fei said disdainfully. It looked like one and didn't look like one at the same time. He directly gave this divine beast a name, None. As Gu Fei spoke, he separated his hands and a ball of divine light emerged from his body. The divine beast directly collided with the divine light around Gu Fei's body. It was as if it had collided with an immortal divine mountain, and the entire space exploded. Gu Fei did not move at all. He was like an immortal divine mountain that had existed since the beginning of time. The divine beast that didn't look like one was in a miserable state. It was directly sent flying, and its head was bleeding. What? The three odd divine beasts were shocked to the extreme. At this moment, Gu Fei took a step forward and stepped on the divine beast's head, causing it to fall from the sky. Boom! The divine beast that fell from the sky directly smashed into the ground, creating a huge pit. This wasn't an ordinary place. This was the place where the Earth Ancestor's vein was located. Every piece of rock here was extremely hard. Even if one used a divine weapon, it would be very difficult to split the rocks here. However, the force of the divine beast's smash actually created a huge pit in the incomparably hard ground. This was absolutely shocking. Your skin is thick and you can even use primordial energy for your own use. You are much stronger than Qian Yu. Gu Fei looked down at the odd divine beast on the ground with his hands behind his back. You! The divine beast almost died from anger. Roar! The divine beast roared and opened its mouth to spit out a mouthful of divine fire at Gu Fei. Boom! An endless amount of fire exploded and instantly enveloped Gu Fei. The monstrous divine fire directly engulfed Gu Fei. Gu Fei didn't dodge at all. He still stood with his hands behind his back. However, a ball of divine light emerged from his chest and enveloped his entire body. This was a protective divine light formed from the power of eternity. No matter how powerful the divine flames of the three odd beasts were, burning the void to the point of annihilation, they could not break through his defenses. "Haha, you're still not dead yet?" The odd divine beast laughed crazily. This divine flame was the true life flame that he had cultivated for countless years. A single breath of true fire could destroy the heavens and the earth. However, very quickly, the divine beast couldn't laugh anymore. "How is this possible?" The divine beast stared at Gu Fei, who was standing with his hands behind his back. It was extremely shocked. "How is this possible, my fire actually?" The divine beast was dumbfounded. "I don't care about you at all. Since I'm in a good mood, you'd better kneel down and beg for mercy," Gu Fei said with a faint smile. "You!" At this moment, the divine beast was really panicking. However, he would rather die than kneel and beg for mercy as the ruler of a realm. "If you don't beg for mercy, then die," Gu Fei said and was about to attack. "Wait!" The odd divine beast jumped up from the ground and transformed into a human. "What's wrong?" Gu Fei's hand stopped in the air. "Master, my master, please spare my life." The divine beast knelt at Gu Fei's feet. Gu Fei was a little surprised to see this. This guy actually admitted defeat just like that? "Good, very good." As Gu Fei spoke, he pointed a finger and a ray of divine light rushed into the divine beast's body. "What's that?" The divine beast was shocked. He was just pretending to admit defeat. He didn't really want to submit to Gu Fei, nor did he really want to serve Gu Fei as his master. This was just a stopgap measure. "That's a forbidden technique. As long as you obediently work for me, everything will be fine. If you dare to betray me, I can destroy your body and soul with just a thought," Gu Fei said indifferently. However, Gu Fei's words were like a bolt from the blue to the divine beast's ears. He collapsed to the ground. What this? The divine beast's intestines turned green with regret. "All right, bring me to the source of heaven and earth," Gu Fei said indifferently. Chapter 4191. Deep inside the Earth Ancestor vein in the Heavenly God realm, Gu Fei waved his hand. A purple dragon that had been imprisoned in the Heaven and Earth Origin Divine Bead flew out. As soon as the purple dragon flew out, the entire Earth Ancestor vein was filled with a terrifying pressure, as if the Supreme Ancestor Dragon had arrived. Rumble! In the outside world, the towering incipient God Mountain suddenly shook violently. The Dark Knight Emperor, Death God, and True Dragon Emperor, who were waiting at the peak of incipient God Mountain, were all shocked. They could feel a terrifying aura coming from the foot of incipient God Mountain, which made them shudder. That is, 9 Death's God seemed to have thought of something, and his expression immediately turned ugly. "What happened?" The Dark Knight Emperor asked Death's Supremacy. "How would I know?" Death God said indifferently. He vaguely knew what had happened. "Ha!" Right at this moment, a loud laugh came. A figure walked out of the deep starry sky and arrived above the peak of incipient God Mountain, looking down at the 3 experts. God Lord Tengi? 9 Death's divinity was shocked when he saw that person. "Little 9, you did a good job." It was God Lord Tengi, one of the 3 giants of the Heavenly God realm. As a heaven-defying God Lord, although Tengi was not a match for Gu Fei, he could almost sweep the entire Heavenly God realm. This, Death God's face changed dramatically. Even the Dark Knight Emperor and True Dragon Emperor were very nervous. It should be known that Tengi was a giant in the Heavenly God realm. He was almost invincible. Back then, the Dark Knight Emperor had been defeated by Tengi. Now, these 2 enemies were very jealous when they met again. Boom! The next moment, a terrifying dark power rushed out of the Dark Knight Emperor's body, and the whole world immediately became dark. The Dark Knight Emperor seemed to have turned into a black hole, swallowing the surrounding spiritual chi of heaven and earth. The heaven and earth spirit chi here was much thicker than in other places in the heavenly god realm. Every breath was taken into the body, and then the impurities were expelled. "What's wrong, Dark Knight? Have you forgotten the lesson you received back then?" Tingyi coldly stared at the Dark Knight Emperor as he spoke in disdain. In the battle back then, he did not use his full strength to chase the Dark Knight Emperor away. Back then, he did have the ability to kill the Dark Knight Emperor. However, after hesitating for a moment, the Dark Knight Emperor managed to escape. Of course, whether he killed the Dark Knight Emperor or not, in his opinion, was a trivial matter. That palm strike from back then is still fresh in my mind. Today, I will settle the score with you. The Dark Knight Emperor stared at the figure in the sky and said coldly, "This time, you won't be as lucky as before." Tingyi stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly. He was high and mighty, looking down at the Dark Knight Emperor like he was looking at an ant. Boom! The Dark Knight Emperor's body shook, and an even more powerful dark force immediately erupted from his body. A hideous shadow of a dark mythological beast emerged from his body, roaring at soaring wings in the sky. Back then, he had not activated the supreme bloodline in his body, so the Dark Knight Emperor was very unwilling to accept his defeat. Now that the bloodline of a peerless divine beast in his body had awakened, he would even dare to fight Tingyi, a heaven-defying divine master of the heavenly divine realm. Did this guy eat a heavenly beast bile? At this moment, Death Hierarch couldn't help but be dumbfounded. It should be known that even he did not dare to say such words in front of Divine Master Tingyi, because that would be courting death. You are a descendant of a dark mythological beast? Tingyi couldn't help but be surprised when he saw the shadow of a beast emerging from the Dark Knight Emperor's body. A dark mythological beast was a legendary supreme beast. The dark mythological beasts were already extinct. There were no dark mythological beasts in the heavenly divine realm. Even the descendants of the dark mythological beasts were all killed. Who would have thought that a descendant of the dark mythological beast would appear today? So what if I am? The Dark Knight Emperor stared at Tingyi in the sky with a gloomy face. A descendant of a dark mythological beast. Death Hierarch was also dumbfounded. The dark mythological beast was a tyrant in the antiquity time. It even wanted to attack the central divine area and become the master of the heavenly divine realm. However, in the end, it aroused public anger and became the public enemy. In the end, it was killed by the three magnates. Even its descendants were killed by the three magnates. It wasn't without reason that the Dark Knight Emperor attacked the heavenly divine realm and slaughtered everyone. It was a great enmity. Only then did the true Dragon Emperor know that the Dark Knight Emperor was a descendant of the dark mythological beast. A descendant of the dark mythological beast. Everyone has the right to kill you. Kill! Tingyi roared angrily. He extended his right hand and grabbed at the Dark Knight Emperor on the mountain. A vortex appeared on his palm. A powerful devouring power gushed out from the vortex as if it wanted to devour the entire incipient god mountain. Roar! The Dark Knight Emperor roared angrily. The next moment, the shadow of a beast rushed out of his body and directly collided with the big hand that was grabbing at him. His roar shook the entire world. The entire void shook hard. Many pitch-black space cracks extended far away. 9 Death's Divine Lord and True Dragon Emperor released a protective divine light that blocked the cracks in the space. With their cultivation base, of course, they weren't afraid of the space cracks. However, if it were an ordinary Emperor God, they wouldn't be so calm. Boom! The shadow of the beast and the giant hand collided. The shadow of the beast and the giant hand dissipated at the same time, turning into 2 shocking forces. These 2 forces destroyed each other, forming a destructive storm that swept out in all directions. This True Dragon Emperor and Death Hierarch couldn't help but be moved. They directly soared up into the sky and retreated to the distant sky. The incipient god mountain shook again. The peak of the mountain cracked and countless rocks were blown away. At this moment, the incipient god mountain was in a mess. Countless God Path experts cultivating on the mountain were alarmed. They all rushed out. Even the old fellows who were cultivating in seclusion jumped out. They didn't want to stay in seclusion anymore. What happened? Why did the ancestral vein move all of a sudden? An antique deity realm powerhouse exclaimed in horror. What? The ancestral vein is moving? Someone screamed in fear. The ancestral vein's movement was terrible. The last time it had happened was 8,000 years ago. At that time, the ancestral vein had flipped over and almost overturned the incipient God Mountain. Many people had died. To the old antiques cultivating on the incipient God Mountain, 8,000 years was just a blink of an eye. It's only been 8,000 years and the ancestral vein is moving again. Some old antiques were restless. The movement of the ancestral vein was an earth-shaking event. Chapter 4192. The strange movement of the ancestral vein shocked everyone. Not only the incipient God Mountain was shaking, but the other branches of the ancestral vein were also shaking. The entire central celestial area was shaking. Countless creatures were terrified. All the forces in the central celestial area were panicking. The central celestial area was like the end of the world. At this time, Gu Fei took away the Hongming purple aura from the divine pearl of heaven and earth origin. How could he take away the ancestral chi so easily? The three odd divine beasts who were watching from the side were immediately dumbfounded. This was too much of a bully. It had guarded this place for countless years. What was the purpose of it? Wasn't it to get a wisp of ancestral chi from the divine pearl of heaven and earth origin? The thing it had wanted for its entire life was easily obtained by someone else. It was so annoying. At this time, Gu Fei opened his mouth and inhaled. The purple dragon in his hand flew into his mouth and was swallowed. What? When the three odd-looking godly beasts saw this scene, they were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell out. He swallowed it in one gulp. This was the first time the divine beast had seen someone so crazy that he swallowed a wisp of ancestral chi. This was the ancestral chi of heaven and earth. One wisp could crush a mountain range. Even the divine beast wouldn't dare to do this. This was simply courting death. His body would explode, and even his spirit would be destroyed. While the divine beast was waiting to see Gu Fei's body explode, Gu Fei suddenly licked his lips. It doesn't taste good, Gu Fei said. What? Hearing this, the odd divine beast staggered and almost fell. At this time, the Hongmeng purple aura was refined by Gu Fei and integrated into his blood vessels and bones. Most of the Hongmeng purple aura was absorbed by the eternal real bone in his chest. The eternal true bone transformed the primordial purple haze into eternal essence chi, using the power of eternity to temper his flesh, blood, tendons, and bones. Gu Fei could feel that his cultivation seemed to have improved, and his martial body had also become slightly stronger. It's so hard to recover my cultivation, Gu Fei sighed. Recover my cultivation? The odd divine beast couldn't help but think when it heard this. Could it be that this isn't this fellow's true cultivation? All right, let's go. Gu Fei looked at the heaven and earth origin divine beads and said. He had no interest in the divine pearls of heaven and earth origin, because the moment he touched them, the heavenly divine realm would be finished. Gu Fei could not do something like exterminating an entire world. Of course, if he refined the heavenly origin divine pearl, his cultivation would definitely recover a little. As long as the divine orb of heaven and earth was not taken away, the divine orb of heaven and earth would condense the primordial violet aura again after some time. Gu Fei turned around and left. The three odd divine beasts hurriedly followed. This fellow rejoiced inwardly. From the point of view of this odd divine beast, the most precious thing in the heavenly god realm was the divine pearl of origin of heaven and earth. It was an item that could produce the ancestral chi of heaven and earth. This fellow had only taken the ancestral chi of the world, and had not taken the divine pearl of world origin. Did this guy get kicked in the head by a donkey? Are you stupid? The three odd divine beasts truly could not understand. While Gu Fei was taking away the primordial violet aura, the outside world was in chaos. Boom! Bam! At the peak of incipient God Mountain, two figures were rapidly moving in the sky, violent energy wreaking havoc in the world. The Dark Knight Emperor and God Lord Soaring Wing were locked in a fierce battle. The entire ancestral land was quaking. If not for the supreme array protecting it, even incipient God Mountain would have been destroyed by these two, and the ancestral vein would have been affected. This Dark Knight Emperor has been hiding his strength. God Nine Deaths couldn't help but be surprised by this sight. The Dark Knight Emperor was too good at pretending. This fellow. The true Dragon Emperor was also stunned by this sight. Kill! The Dark Knight Emperor roared again and again. The hatred of the destruction of his race was absolutely irreconcilable. He attacked with all his might, wanting to kill God Lord Soaring Wing. However, God Lord Soaring Wing was no weakling. Although he was not a match for Gu Fei, he could still sweep through the world. Destruction Fist! God Lord Soaring Wing punched, causing the entire world to tremble beneath his fist. Dreadful destructive energy erupted from God Lord Soaring Wing's fist, shattering the surrounding space. Heaven Sundering Slash! The Dark Knight Emperor roared, his right hand slashing at the incoming fist. A dazzling divine light shot out of his hand and slashed at God Lord Soaring Wing's fist. Bang! With a massive explosion, the two figures were separated. A massive spatial fissure appeared between the two. Good, very good! Soaring Wing's figure appeared in the air. He lowered his head and saw that there was a bloody wound on his fist. The Dark Knight Emperor's slash had actually cut through Soaring Wing's flesh and injured him. Although it was just a small wound, the mighty god Soaring Wing, one of the three titans of the celestial god world, had actually been injured. Preposterous! Soaring Wing was enraged, truly enraged. Haha! The sight of Soaring Wing's rage was very satisfying for the Dark Knight Emperor. But this was far from enough. Since the three titans had destroyed the Darkness God Beast race, the Dark Knight Emperor would destroy the three titans and their race as well. Kill! Soaring Wing went mad with rage, and a moment later, he transformed into a strange beast. A divine eye appeared on the beast's forehead and then opened. Swish! A beam of destruction divine light shot out of Soaring Wing's divine eye and pierced toward the Dark Knight Emperor. But a moment later, the space around the Dark Knight Emperor collapsed into primal chaos, and the beam of primal chaos divine light shot into the primal chaos. What? Soaring Wing was stunned by this sight. Darkness World! The Dark Knight Emperor roared as he used his trump card. Darkness energy surged out of the Dark Knight Emperor's body and instantly engulfed the world. The vast power of darkness swallowed Ting Yi in an instant. Humph! It's just a petty trick! God Lord Soaring Wing coldly sneered. A ball of divine light emerged from his body and protected him, blocking off the tenebrous energy surging toward him. Is that so? The Dark Knight Emperor's voice resounded, and then countless divine spears formed by divine light shot toward Soaring Wing. Break for me! God Lord Soaring Wing bellowed. An extremely berserk power surged out of his body in an attempt to break the Dark Knight Emperor's sealing power. But the Dark Knight Emperor's darkness domain was extremely powerful, and not just anyone could break it. The terrifying energy only caused the entire domain to tremble. Chapter 4193. The heaven-shaking battle between God Lord Soaring Wing and the Dark Knight Emperor shook the world. Countless experts of the four divine realms heard the news and rushed to the central divine realm like they had been injected with stimulants. This was a battle between God Lords. It had been many years since such a battle had occurred. In the cultivation history of the heavenly God realm, a great battle between divine masters had only broken out during the darkest period of the heavenly God realm. That battle had nearly destroyed the heavenly God realm. The original heavenly God realm was not like this. Before the Dark Ages, the heavenly God realm was an incomparably huge continent. During the later stages of the Dark Ages, a great battle between divine masters broke out, and the heavenly God continent was split into 5 pieces. This was the origin of the 5 great divine regions of the heavenly God realm. A battle between divine masters could destroy the heavens and the earth. A high-class world like the Heavenly God realm could not withstand a battle of this level. After that battle, the heavenly axiom of the Heavenly God realm was damaged and the power of the heaven and earth law became weaker. As a result, it became more difficult for the cultivators of the Heavenly God realm to become an ultimate god. Not to mention an ultimate god, even an emperor god could not become an emperor god since the Dark Ages. Wan Xuanji was the first person to become a god emperor in tens of thousands of years. The more difficult it was to cultivate, the more transcendent the Tao fruit would be, and the stronger one's combat strength would be. This was the reason why Wan Xuanji was able to compete with veteran god emperors as soon as he became a god emperor. Rumble! At this moment, the Dark Knight Emperor circulated his tenebrous domain with all his might, wanting to obliterate the trapped Divine Lord Soaring Wing. He had a great enmity with the three big shots of the Heavenly God realm. He couldn't wait to tear the three big shots into 1,000 pieces. However, Tingyi was still one of the three heavyweights, the publicly acknowledged Divine Master of the Heavenly God realm. It would not be easy for the Dark Knight Emperor to kill Divine Master Tingyi. Open! God Lord Soaring Wing roared angrily. He spread his hands apart, and a powerful surge of divine Tao energy surged out of his body in an attempt to forcibly break open the domain of darkness. However, the Dark Knight Emperor's dark realm only shook a little. God Lord Soaring Wing's divine light was only able to create a radius of several dozen feet around him. What? God Lord Soaring Wing was rather moved. That kid from back then had actually grown to this level? He could actually contend against me? How was this possible? Back then, if it wasn't for Tingyi's carelessness, the Dark Knight Emperor would have died in his hands. Back then, it was as easy as flipping his hand for Tingyi to kill the Dark Knight Emperor. He did not take the so-called number one powerhouse of the Dark Knight continent seriously at all. The number one expert of the Dark Knight continent was nothing more than a joke in God Lord Soaring Wing's eyes. But now, this scoundrel was actually able to fight against him. This left God Lord Soaring Wing stunned. "Ha, show me what you've got. Otherwise, you won't have a chance." In the darkness, the Emperor of the Dark Knight's arrogant laughter could be heard. "Who do you think you are? You want to kill me? You don't have that ability yet," Tingyi bellowed. "Humph, whether I have the ability or not you will soon find out," the Dark Knight Emperor sneered. In the next moment, a dazzling divine light appeared in the absolute darkness of the void. The divine light tore through the dark void and pierced towards Tingyi. This was a divine ability cultivated by the Dark Knight Emperor, a supreme divine light condensed from absolute darkness. Each of these beams could easily pierce through the divine body of a divine sovereign. These divine lights pierced through Tingyi's protective divine light. Tingyi was in the Dark Knight Emperor's domain of darkness, so he had nowhere to hide. Tensome divine lights struck his body. Roar! God Lord Soaring Wing's body trembled as bloody light appeared on his body. Although these divine lights had not pierced through his divine body, they had still managed to injure him. He was madly enraged. God Lord Soaring Wing's body trembled as he revealed his true form. This was a strange beast with the upper body of a man and the lower body of a snake. This strange beast even had a vertical eye on its forehead. "Open for me!" God Lord Soaring Wing's god eye suddenly opened, and a terrifying beam of destructive divine light shot out of it, piercing through the dark void. "What?" The Dark Knight Emperor's cry of alarm came from the dark void. At this moment, God Lord Soaring Wing laughed and transformed into a beam of divine light that charged through the broken passage. "Divine Eye of Annihilation?" The Dark Knight Emperor had a deep understanding of the three titans. It had to be known that only by knowing one's enemy could one emerge victorious in 100 battles. He was a very cautious person. Otherwise, the Dark Knight Emperor would never have been able to unify the Dark Knight continent. Preposterous! The Dark Knight Emperor retracted his tenebrous domain. At this moment, a gigantic palm descended from the sky, slamming down at him with a violent force that shook the entire world. Bam! The Dark Knight Emperor raised his palm, and the two palms collided. "Damn it!" The Dark Knight Emperor felt the unstoppable power erupting from his opponent's hand, and a moment later he was sent flying backward. "Little guy, you're still too inexperienced." Ting Yi's disdainful voice rang out in the Dark Knight Emperor's ear. Whoosh! This is. When Death God Master saw the person behind Gu Fei, he was startled, but he didn't say anything. "Where's Qian Yu? Has he come out?" Gu Fei calmly looked at Nine Death God and said, "Master, this subordinate didn't see Qian Yu come out." Death God Master couldn't help but sweat as Gu Fei stared at him. "Humph! He dared to trick me. Go and capture him," Gu Fei said to the divine beast behind him. "Yes." The divine beast turned and walked into the divine hall. This, Death God Master and True Dragon Emperor looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. Qian Yu was the boss of the Heavenly God Realm's 3 big shots. He was extremely powerful. He just didn't want to ascend to the Celestial Realm. If he wanted to, he could attract an Ascension Tribulation and ascend at any time. At this moment, Gu Fei looked at the Dark Knight Emperor and God Lord Soaring Wing, who were fighting in the sky. As expected, Gu Fei was angry, truly angry. This Qian Yu had dared to plot against him and work with God Lord Soaring Wing to kill all the people he had brought with him. This plan was ruthless, but Qian Yu had severely underestimated Gu Fei and the Dark Knight Monarch. No one knew that the Dark Knight Monarch was also an expert in disguising himself as a pig to eat the tiger. He had actually concealed his strength so deeply. Even in his battle with Gu Fei on the Dark Knight continent, the Dark Knight Emperor hadn't used the power of the Darkness God Beast's bloodline. This was his greatest secret. One had to realize that the Darkness God Beast was a public enemy in the Heavenly God Realm. If anyone found out that he was a descendant of the Darkness God Beast, he would face a calamity. But it was different now. He was now Gu Fei's subordinate, and Gu Fei was a ruthless person who could easily kill divine venerables. In the Heavenly God Realm, who else besides the 3 big shots would dare to attack Gu Fei? Thus, the Dark Knight Emperor no longer needed to hide his identity. "That damned fellow! All of you, go together and capture him!" Gu Fei roared at Death God Master and True Dragon Emperor. "Master, this." The other party was a God Lord. The seal on the incipient God Mountain had been activated, and there was a supreme power protecting the Divine Mountain. That was why they dared to come back to watch the battle. Otherwise, they would still be watching from 100,000 miles away. Chapter 4194. A battle between God Lords could shake the heavens and earth. Even those at the peak of incipient God Mountain had to endure enormous pressure. The 9 Death Ultimate God and the True Dragon Emperor had retreated a long time ago. However, a battle of this level was extremely tempting to them. They had even risked returning to the peak of incipient God Mountain to watch this battle. If they could gain some sort of enlightenment from this battle between the Dark Knight Emperor and God Lord Soaring Wing, they might be able to take that final step towards becoming a God Lord. But now, their master, Gu Fei, was telling them to fight God Lord Soaring Wing? Wasn't this just sending them to their deaths? But at this moment, the sky fiercely quaked, and then a pitch-black hole appeared in the air. Someone shattered the void. "Still want to run?" Gu Fei's eyes flickered when he saw this. In the next moment, he stretched out his hand and grabbed at the sky. Brum! The entire sky seemed to be pulled down by Gu Fei's hand, and a figure was pulled out of the shattered void. Roar! This figure desperately struggled, boundless divine power erupting from its body. But no matter how much this person struggled, he couldn't escape Gu Fei's grasp. He was pulled down from the sky and then slammed to the ground by Gu Fei. This person was none other than God Lord Soaring Wing. The True Dragon Emperor and 9 Deaths God were dumbfounded. At this moment, a figure descended from the sky and landed in front of Gu Fei. "Master!" The Dark Knight Emperor hurriedly bowed to Gu Fei. "So you were also hiding a hand? Not even I could tell that you were a descendant of the Darkness God Beast." Gu Fei glanced at the Dark Knight Emperor and indifferently said, "This?" The Dark Knight Emperor couldn't help but tense up, a layer of cold sweat appearing on his forehead. Bang! God Lord Soaring Wing's body exploded with immense power as he tried to escape. But Gu Fei extended his right hand and pressed it down on God Lord Soaring Wing. God Lord Soaring Wing was immediately pressed to the ground, motionless. You! God Lord Soaring Wing was both shocked and infuriated. Gu Fei had come out, but Boss had disappeared. Had Boss failed and been killed by Gu Fei? God Lord Soaring Wing couldn't help but despair at this thought. Qian Yu and Ting Yi's plan to get rid of Gu Fei had been foolproof, but to God Lord Ting Yi's surprise, Gu Fei had come out. To God Lord Ting Yi's shock, the person accompanying Gu Fei was the Patriarch. In the entire heavenly God realm, there was only one person who could be addressed as ancestor by Ting Yi, and that was this odd divine beast that Gu Fei had subdued. In the entire heavenly God realm, only the three big shots knew of its existence. However, the three big shots were just like children in front of it. The three powerhouses all referred to the three odd divine beasts as their ancestors. He was the number one expert of the heavenly God realm, God Ancestor Jotian. The three magnates regarded God Ancestor Jotian as the guardian of the heaven divine realm. However, they did not know that the reason why God Ancestor Jotian had been guarding the ancestor vein of the heaven divine realm for so many years was not to protect the ancestor vein from being harmed, but to refine the ancestor vein and become a real immortal expert. You can die now! As Gu Fei spoke, he pressed down with his right hand. With the sound of bones cracking, God Lord Soaring Wing turned into a bloody mist. Master, it's a pity to kill him! God Ancestor Jotian sighed. The true Dragon Emperor and the Dark Knight Emperor's expressions changed, especially the Dark Knight Emperor. If Ting Yi died in Gu Fei's hands, it would be a great regret for him. Do you think he can still live after scheming against my people? Gu Fei said indifferently. Then, he used a mysterious technique to devour God Lord Soaring Wing's essence, qi, and spirit. Even his primordial spirit was devoured. This was a God Lord. Although Gu Fei devoured a God Lord, his cultivation did not recover much. God Lord Soaring Wing died at the hands of Gu Fei. As for Gu Fei, he had used a single hand to kill a God Lord like Ting Yi. And Qian Yu. Gu Fei gritted his teeth. God Ancestor Jotian did not find Qian Yu in the ancestral vein. Qian Yu had left long ago. He had planted a restrictive technique on Qian Yu's body. With a single thought, he could destroy Qian Yu's body and primordial spirit. However, Qian Yu was lucky to die like this. Although Gu Fei was furious, he did not kill Qian Yu just like that. I'll give you 3 days to capture Qian Yu. Gu Fei glanced at everyone and said, Yes, Master! God Ancestor Jotian and the others quickly accepted the order. Soon, the news spread and shocked the entire world. The heavenly divine realm finally has a new master. At this moment, in the sky 10,000 miles away from the incipient God Mountain, a fat man carrying a halberd looked in the direction of the incipient God Mountain with a solemn expression. Boss is really arrogant. Even the guy guarding there is not a match for Boss? The fat man was shocked. Even the current him was no match for that existence. Why don't we go and take a look? The fat man turned into a ray of divine light and rushed towards the incipient God Mountain. At this moment, there was only Gu Fei on the incipient God Mountain. The others had gone to kill Qian Yu. To Gu Fei, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. It was time for him to leave. He had devoured the origin qi of heaven and earth. There was nothing else that Gu Fei needed in the heavenly divine realm. Besides the origin qi of heaven and earth, he had also obtained an immortal heart and a bone bead. Gu Fei vaguely guessed that these 2 items might belong to the same person. Of course, it was just a guess. Boss! At this moment, a voice pulled Gu Fei back from his thoughts. Gu Fei looked up and saw that it was the fat man. The fat man was so mysterious that even Gu Fei could not see through him. Swoosh! A figure descended from the sky and landed in front of Gu Fei. What are you doing here? Gu Fei frowned and said, I want to attack the incipient God Mountain with Boss. The fat man said. All right, since you're here, go and capture Qian Yu. Gu Fei said. You want to capture Qian Yu? The fatty was shocked. This god lord Qian Yu was the strongest existence of the three heavyweights, the boss of the three heavyweights. Of course, the heavenly divine realm no longer had the three giants because Long Tsang was dead. He dared to betray me. Do you think he can still live? Gu Fei said ruthlessly. Hearing this, the fatty's expression immediately became solemn. Just as the fat man arrived, in a desolate mountain hundreds of thousands of miles away from the incipient God Mountain. Qian Yu, surrender and follow me back to see Master. Otherwise, today will be the day of your death. A powerful aura spread over the mountain. There was a confrontation. You want me to surrender? Impossible! Qian Yu was the boss of the three giants. How could he surrender just because of one sentence? Then I'm sorry! That person directly attacked Qian Yu. Boom! That armored god general punched out, causing the entire world to tremble. This punch shook the heavens and earth. Qian Yu was taken aback. He didn't think that this group of people would have such a powerful cultivation base. The person in the lead even displayed a powerful battle prowess. There was no time to think about why. Qian Yu also punched out. Boom! The two fists collided in an instant, causing a loud bang. The sound spread out in all directions, and the surrounding void immediately rippled like water. The two figures separated in an instant, but immediately collided with each other. Impossible! How could this be? Qian Yu became more frightened as he fought. This god general was his subordinate, and only had the cultivation of a god emperor. How did this guy's cultivation suddenly become so strong? It should be known that he was a god lord. It was easy for him to kill a god emperor. But now, he couldn't even defeat a puny god general. He was too useless. At this moment, a powerful wave of energy rippled, startling many people. Gu Fei's bounty caused everyone's eyes to turn red. Therefore, at this moment, almost every cultivator was searching for Qian Yu. Because as long as they found and captured Qian Yu, they would be able to obtain the item they yearned for even in their dreams. Moreover, the people chasing after Qian Yu all went to Gu Fei to obtain a Dao talisman. This wasn't an ordinary Dao talisman. After using this Dao talisman, one could obtain great power. However, this power couldn't last for long. Chapter 4195. Qian Yu was the #1 divine lord in the heaven god world. He was extremely powerful and his cultivation base was only second to Jiu Tian. Although Gu Fei had issued a kill order to Qian Yu, there were not many people in the heaven god world who could stop him if he wanted to run for his life. However, although the heaven god world was huge, there was no place for Qian Yu. Countless experts in the heaven god world searched for Qian Yu crazily under Gu Fei's reward because Gu Fei's reward was too great. Even the 9 Deaths God and the Dark Knight Emperor could not hold themselves back and went after Qian Yu. The true Dragon Emperor naturally did not want to be left behind. They brought Gu Fei's talismans with them. As long as they crushed the talismans, they would be able to fight against the Divine Lord. In fact, only God Path experts above the Emperor God realm could use the Dao talisman that Gu Fei refined. Cultivators below the Emperor God realm could not withstand the power of the Dao talisman at all. If a cultivator below the God Emperor realm tried to use the talismans, the worst outcome would be their body exploding. The luckiest one would lose his physical body and divine body. Only his primordial spirit would be left, and it would take a long time for him to recover his cultivation base. Gu Fei was really angry. He did not hesitate to refine dozens of talismans just to capture Qian Yu. At this moment, Qian Yu was like a street rat. No matter where he went in the heaven god world, he would be attacked. Just like that, Qian Yu fled for 2 days. On the 3rd day, he was blocked by 3 experts in a valley. The #1 divine lord of the heaven god world stood on a huge rock in the valley with his hands behind his back. An imposing aura surged from his body. Little 9, Dark Knight, and this little worm, how dare you come here to die? Qian Yu did not care about the 3 experts at all. Qian Yu, you better follow me back to see Master. Don't make things difficult for us. The Nine Deaths God looked at Qianyu coldly. That's right. Tenyi is dead. You don't want to end up like him, right? The Dark Knight Emperor continued. As long as you come back with us, we can help you plead in front of Master. Perhaps once Master's anger subsides, he might spare your life. The True Dragon Emperor said. Ha ha! Qianyu glanced at the True Dragon Emperor before bursting into laughter. What are you laughing at? The True Dragon Emperor's face immediately darkened. Do you think I'm a fool? Go back with you? Ha ha! Qianyu laughed. These fellows actually wanted to trick him. How laughable. Then we can only capture you and bring you back. As Divine Monarch Nine Deaths spoke, he crushed a Tao talisman in his hand. In the next moment, he felt a surge of energy explode in his body. This energy was so strong that it instantly expanded the meridians in his body by several times. Boom! A violent wave of power erupted from Nine Deaths' Divine Lord's body. Countless pitch-black spatial cracks immediately appeared in the surrounding void. Qianyu's pupils shrunk upon seeing that. Although he had been running for his life for the past 2 days, he noticed that those fellows who were chasing after him had suddenly increased their combat strength before fighting him. It was definitely not a secret technique. There was no secret technique in the Heaven Divine world that could directly increase an Emperor God's cultivation and combat strength to the ultimate God realm, or even the Divine Lord realm. The True Dragon Emperor and the Dark Knight Emperor also crushed the Tao talismans in their hands. Roar! The True Dragon Emperor roared into the sky as a giant dragon's shadow directly rushed out from his body and circled in the sky. Kill! Qianyu roared. In the next moment, he exerted strength in his feet and crushed the boulder under his feet. At the same time, his entire body turned into a divine light and soared into the sky in an attempt to escape. He did not want to be entangled by those 3 fellows. Once he was entangled by those 3 fellows, the other experts would swarm in. By then, it would be impossible for him to fight against dozens of ultimate gods alone, no matter how strong he was. Trying to escape? The Nine-Slayer Ultimate God waved his right hand and a Tao diagram immediately fell from the sky and suppressed the divine light that soared into the sky. What? Qianyu's figure appeared in the void. Haha, trying to escape? Dream on! The True Dragon Emperor laughed out loud as he directly showed his original form and fiercely pounced toward Qianyu in the sky. The power of his pounce caused countless cracks to appear in the void. If it was not for the mighty power of the Tao diagram in the sky that suppressed the void, the True Dragon Emperor's pounce would have shattered the entire void. What's going on? Qianyu's expression was extremely ugly. Those fellows really came prepared. Boom! He directly blocked the True Dragon Emperor's dragon claw with a punch. At the same time, the Dark Knight Emperor also made his move. A divine axe directly rushed out from his body and turned into an immortal divine blade that slashed toward Qianyu's head. The blade of the axe split the void between heaven and earth. Clang! Qianyu waved his hand and blocked the heaven-shattering divine axe. Seeing that scene, the Dark Knight Emperor could not help but be shocked. Qianyu's divine body was too strong to be able to block the attack of the heaven-shattering divine axe. One should know that the heaven-shattering divine axe was the #1 divine weapon in the Dark Knight continent. It could easily kill an ultimate god. Emperor gods were as weak as ants in front of the heaven-shattering divine axe. Boom! The Nine-Slayer Divine Lord's Nine-Slayer Divine Fist landed heavily on Qianyu's chest. Crack! The sound of bones breaking immediately came from Qianyu's body. His entire chest had collapsed inwards from the Nine-Slayer Divine Lord's punch. Qianyu blocked the True Dragon Emperor's dragon claw and the Dark Knight Emperor's heaven-shattering divine axe. However, he could not block the Nine-Slayer Divine Lord's punch. This was the Nine-Slayer Divine Fist created by the Nine-Slayer Divine Lord. One punch could shake the heavens and earth. Roar! Qianyu was enraged. In the next moment, an even more tyrannical wave of energy erupted from his body, directly sending the 3 experts flying. What, this guy? The Dark Knight Emperor, the Nine-Slayer Divine Lord, and the others were shocked. Qianyu was indeed worthy of being the number one divine lord in the heavenly divine realm. He was too strong. If they were to fight one-on-one, they might not be his match. Of course, under such circumstances, the Dark Knight Emperor and the others would not be so stupid to fight one-on-one with him. Boom! After Qianyu sent the three experts flying, he crazily attacked the Tao pattern in the sky. The Tao pattern immediately shook. He actually shook the Tao pattern? Chapter 4196. Qianyu was extremely ferocious. He was able to push back three experts at the same time. His battle prowess was definitely number one in the heavenly god realm. If they were to fight one-on-one, it would be impossible for Nine Deaths Hierarch, the Dark Knight Emperor, or the True Dragon Emperor to defeat Qianyu. Rumble! At this moment, Qianyu turned into a ball of divine light that looked like a sun. He soared into the sky and collided fiercely with the Tao diagram in the sky. The entire Tao diagram trembled. Countless divine runes appeared on the Tao diagram. Countless divine runes intertwined on the Tao diagram. The vast power that was released froze the void and sealed a part of the sky. The divine light that Qianyu turned into was pushed back continuously. However, he did not stop. He continued to crazily collide with the Tao diagram in the sky. He wanted to break out of the Tao diagram. Don't waste your energy. This is Master's item. How can you break it? The True Dragon Emperor sneered. This Tao diagram was the one that Gu Fei had given to Nine Deaths Hierarch for the time being. The mountain and river diagram was an extreme divine tool. Even if Qianyu was 10 times stronger, he would not be able to break the seal of the mountain and river diagram. What? Qianyu couldn't help being startled. No wonder this Tao diagram was so powerful. It turned out that it belonged to Gu Fei. Die! Nine Deaths Hierarch did not say anything else. He immediately used the Nine Deaths Godly Fists. 9 fist shadows rushed out from his fists and smashed the void. The 9 fists landed fiercely on Qianyu's body. The sound of bones breaking could be heard from Qianyu's body. Such power! Qianyu stared at Nine Deaths Hierarch with a crazed look in his eyes. After being hit by the 9 Deaths Godly Fists, his body was immediately covered in blood. Some parts of his body even revealed his bones. However, the next moment, the wounds on Qianyu's body were healing rapidly. The broken bones were reconnected. In just a few breaths' time, the wounds on his body were completely healed. A wave of power that was stronger than before spread out from Qianyu's body. This is... Nine Deaths Divine Lord suddenly thought of something when he saw this, and his expression became even worse. Such a strong recovery ability! Even the Dark Knight Emperor couldn't help but exclaim. So what if he has a strong recovery ability? Do you think he can escape? True Dragon Emperor said disapprovingly. Qianyu stared at Death God 9 and said coldly, "The power you borrowed is not your own. Let's see how I kill you one by one. Is that so? Then bring it on." Hierarch 9 Deaths gave tit for tat. At this moment, he was no longer afraid. He wanted to borrow Gu Fei's power to get rid of Qianyu, who was known as the number one divine master in the heavenly god realm. Buzz! At this moment, Qianyu's body shook. In the next moment, countless figures rushed out from his body and pounced towards the Dark Knight Emperor and the others. Every single one of them was emitting extremely powerful energy ripples. What the hell? The Dark Knight Emperor and Ultimate God 9 Deaths were shocked when they saw this. At this moment, there was no time for them to think too much. In the next moment, they were drowned by Qianyu's countless figures. Roar! The 9 heavenly dragons that the True Dragon Emperor had transformed into shook violently. Countless Qianyu's figures were immediately blasted away and exploded in the void. However, at this moment, the True Dragon Emperor suddenly let out a roar of despair. In the next moment, his head exploded, followed by his body. Boom! 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 9 sounds were heard in a row. Violent energy exploded and the huge body of the 9 true dragons that the True Dragon Emperor had transformed into exploded into a mist of blood. Not even his bones and scales were left. The primordial spirit of the true Dragon Emperor rushed out. However, in the next moment, the primordial spirit of the true Dragon Emperor also exploded. What? Death God 9 Deaths and the Dark Knight Emperor were extremely shocked when they sensed this. After all, the true Dragon Emperor's cultivation and combat power were not inferior to theirs after he used Gu Fei's Dao Talisman. The true Dragon Emperor had died. He had been killed by Qian Yu. You can't even take a punch from me and you still want to kill me? What a joke! Qian Yu's voice reverberated in the void. Even the powerful Death God 9 Deaths and the Dark Knight Emperor couldn't sense his whereabouts. Damn it! The Dark Knight Emperor and the Death God 9 Deaths were both frightened and enraged. Qian Yu had killed the true Dragon Emperor with one punch. They were in danger. At this moment, Qian Yu's countless figures filled the void. No matter how hard the Dark Knight Emperor and the Death God 9 Deaths attacked, they couldn't escape. If you want to kill me, you should be prepared to be killed by me. Qian Yu's voice arose again. The moment Qian Yu killed the true Dragon Emperor with one punch, Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on a big rock on the peak of incipient God Mountain, suddenly opened his eyes. The true dragon is killed? Gu Fei muttered to himself. He was a little surprised. The true Dragon Great Emperor had brought along the Dao Talisman that he had refined himself. As long as he used the Dao Talisman, he would obtain the strongest power and be able to contend against the God Ancestor. Then, he closed his eyes. His subordinates wouldn't die that easily. Humph! It's too early for you to be happy. Right at this moment, the Death God 9 Deaths sneered in the valley. What? Qian Yu was bewildered. Rumble! The void suddenly shook. Then, something that Qian Yu couldn't believe happened. The true Dragon Emperor's primordial spirit was being reconstructed. The specks of soul light condensed together once more. After that, Qian Yu's primordial spirit was reconstructed, followed by his dragon body. The exploded dragon body appeared in the mist of blood, reconstructing the primordial spirit and the dragon body. Qian Yu was stunned. It was a heaven-defying technique. Boom! When the true Dragon Emperor's primordial spirit and the dragon body fused together, an unprecedented pressure burst out from his body. Qian Yu, die! The true Dragon Emperor roared and attacked Qian Yu. He spat out a divine bead and a terrifying divine flame burst out from it. Instantly, the void that was suppressed by the mountain and river diagram turned into a sea of fire. This was the true dragon divine flame that the true Dragon Emperor had condensed. The true dragon divine flame could burn the sky and boil the sea. It burned the void silently. On the body of the true Dragon Emperor, the power of the Dao Talisman that Gu Fei had refined was activated to the extreme. The countless figures that Qian Yu had conjured were burned by the true dragon divine flame and disappeared in the sea of fire. In the end, only one figure was left standing in the sea of fire. The true Dragon Emperor had broken Qian Yu's technique. Chapter 4197. With the true Dragon Emperor's cultivation base, he was definitely not a match for Qian Yu, the #1 divine lord in the heavenly divine realm. However, the true Dragon Emperor had triggered Gu Fei's power. In this case, it wouldn't be easy for Qian Yu to kill the true Dragon Emperor. Preposterous! Qian Yu was shocked and furious to see that the true Dragon Emperor had not only reformed his primordial spirit, but also his physical body. Moreover, the true dragon divine fire had turned his clones into smoke. Die! The true Dragon Emperor roared and pounced towards Qian Yu. Both of his hands turned into dragon claws as he slashed towards Qian Yu. The void was as fragile as a thin piece of paper under his dragon claws. How is this possible? Qian Yu was shocked. The true Dragon Emperor's battle prowess had increased to a level where he could threaten him. How did Gu Fei do it? Gu Fei's technique had shocked Qian Yu to the extreme. Swoosh! Qian Yu moved and retreated. His body moved rapidly in the void, leaving behind a series of afterimages. The true Dragon Emperor's dragon claws tore the afterimages apart and chased after Qian Yu. Violent energy was released from his body, causing the void to tremble. At that moment, the 9 Death Hierarch activated the mountain and river diagram with all his might. The Extreme Path Saint item did not awaken and only revealed a trace of its aura. The Extreme Path Saint item was not something that the 9 Death Hierarch could use. However, even a strand of the mountain river diagram's aura was enough to suppress the entire heavens and earth, causing Qianyu to be unable to escape. This diagram. Qianyu had been in the heavenly divine realm for countless years. He had started his cultivation earlier than the other 2 magnates. However, he had never seen such a treasure diagram that could suppress the universe. Could it be that Gu Fei is from the upper realm? Qianyu's heart was in turmoil as he thought about it. Qianyu naturally knew about the existence of the upper realm. The upper realm was a higher realm than the heavenly divine realm. That world was the cultivation goal of countless cultivators in the heavenly god realm. Everyone wanted to cultivate to the hierarch realm, then shatter the void and enter the upper realm. However, from ancient times until now, there were not many living beings who could cultivate to become a divine venerable. Especially after the Dark Ages, it became harder for the heavenly god realm to produce a divine venerable. Even among the god emperors, for tens of thousands of years, there was only one Wang Xuanji. Boom! Bam! Muffled sounds of collisions rang out continuously. The true Dragon Emperor and Qianyu continued to clash against each other. Violent energy rippled out in all directions, engulfing the heavens and the earth. If it weren't for the mountain and river diagram stabilizing the space between heaven and earth, an area of tens of thousands of miles would have been reduced to ruins. One had to realize that this was a battle between god lords. The Dark Knight Emperor stared at Qianyu, who was in the midst of a great battle. He tightened his grip on the heaven-shattering axe. He was waiting for an opportunity to kill Qianyu in a single blow. On the heaven-shattering axe, there were divine runes faintly appearing and intertwining. A powerful force burst out from the axe in the Dark Knight Emperor's hand. The entire void was trembling. The battle strength that the true Dragon Emperor had displayed was not his own strength. After a series of fierce attacks, he was sent flying by Qianyu's punch. The true Dragon Emperor's blood rained down from the sky. Now! 2 beams of dazzling divine light shot out from the Dark Knight Emperor's eyes. In the next moment, the heaven-shattering axe in his hand turned into an immortal divine light and slashed at Qianyu. Whoosh! Wherever the divine light passed, blood splattered. Half of his body was split open by the divine light, and he was almost split in half. 9 Death's Deity Fist! 9 Death's Deity made his move upon seeing this. A violent destructive fist force landed on Qianyu's body. In the next moment, Qianyu screamed in pain as he was blasted into a bloody mist by 9 Death's Deity's punch. He's still not dead? 9 Death's Deity sneered. Boss, Master wants him alive. The Dark Knight Emperor said to 9 Death's Deity. What? Hearing this, 9 Death's Deity's expression changed. They knew that Gu Fei had also planted a restrictive technique on Qianyu. If Gu Fei wanted to kill Qianyu, he could do it effortlessly with a single thought. However, Gu Fei wanted him alive. Whoosh! The Dark Knight Emperor made his move again. A beam of black light shot out from hell toward Qianyu's primordial spirit. Didn't you say that Master wants him alive? Seeing this, 9 Death's Deity quickly blocked the Dark Knight Emperor's beam of death deity. Let's beat this guy half to death first. The Dark Knight Emperor explained. You! Hearing this, 9 Death's Deity was speechless. If they accidentally killed this guy, they would be punished by Gu Fei when they returned. Forget it. Let's kill him first. 9 Death's Deity immediately made his move and knocked Qianyu's primordial spirit away. All of you move aside. Let me do it. At this moment, an old voice was heard. Then, a guy rushed over from afar and grabbed Qianyu's primordial spirit. Seeing this, 9 Death's Deity and the Dark Knight Emperor almost went crazy. They almost cursed when they saw the fat meat that was about to be in their mouths flying away. However, when they saw that guy, they immediately swallowed the words they wanted to say. It was as if they had swallowed a fly. Greetings, old ancestor Jiotian. 9 Death's deity and the others quickly bowed to the newcomer. I want this guy's primordial spirit. Do you have any objections? Old ancestor Jiotian glanced at 9 Death's deity and the others and said indifferently, No objections, no objections. 9 Death's deity and the others quickly said. They did not dare to have any objections. This guy was old ancestor Jiotian, who was even more powerful than the 3 magnates of the heaven god world. Even the 3 magnates did not dare to act presumptuously in front of him. If you have no objections, I'll take my leave. Old ancestor Jiotian waved his sleeve and soared into the sky, disappearing into the void. This 9 Death's deity and the others looked at each other. They were unwilling and angry, but there was nothing they could do. Old ancestor Jiotian's fist was stronger than theirs. Damn it! The true Dragon Emperor was furious. They were fighting Qianyu with their lives on the line. Just as they were about to capture Qianyu, who knew that this old fellow would jump out and directly take away Qianyu's primordial spirit. Sigh! What a waste of effort! 9 Death Divine Venerate was also displeased, but he didn't dare to challenge Patriarch Jiotian with his cultivation base. The Dark Knight Emperor did not say anything. Let's go back! 9 Death's deity waved his hand and put away the mountain and river diagram in the sky. Then, he took a step and disappeared into the void. The Dark Knight Emperor and the True Dragon Emperor looked at each other and disappeared into the void at the same time. Boom! After the 3 experts left, the area within a radius of 10,000 miles turned into dust. The entire ground sank thousands of feet, and countless living beings died. The entire barbaric mountains were almost destroyed. Who did this? Many experts were startled and came to check. They were all shocked to see this scene. Is it old ancestor Jiotian's work? Someone said. Old ancestor Jiotian's appearance shocked the world. This god ancestor had destroyed many powerful clans. Wherever he went, blood flowed like a river. Although Gu Fei was old ancestor Jiotian's master, he did not care about him because he would leave the heaven divine realm one day later. Moreover, old ancestor Jiotian did not attack the human clan. Gu Fei had made it clear that he would kill anyone who dared to attack the human clan. Even a supreme existence like God Ancestor Jiotian did not dare to show any dissatisfaction, because their lives were in Gu Fei's hands. The survival of the human clan was what Gu Fei cared about. Time is almost up. These guys are so useless. They can't even capture Qianyu. On the peak of incipient God Mountain, Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on a boulder, suddenly opened his eyes. At this moment, a figure descended from the sky and landed in front of Gu Fei. Greetings, Master! An old man knelt down on the ground. Looks like you're quite capable. Gu Fei looked at the old man and said. This old man was old ancestor Jiotian. Master, Qianyu's origin soul is here. Old ancestor Jiotian released Qianyu's origin soul. Master, please spare my life. Qianyu's origin soul immediately begged Gu Fei for mercy. Haha, spare you? Gu Fei laughed when he heard this. He hated betrayal the most in his life. There was only one way to deal with traitors, and that was to kill. Master, I don't know what I did wrong to make you so angry. Master, please spare me this time. Qianyu begged. All right, I'll let you go. Gu Fei suddenly said with a smile. Thank you, Master, for sparing my life. Qianyu was overjoyed. How about I let you bathe in the purgatory divine fire? Gu Fei said. What? Qianyu was scared out of his wits. Master, I'll suppress him in the purgatory divine fire and refine his soul for 10,000 years. God Ancestor Jiotian said immediately. That's it. Gu Fei nodded. No, Master, you can't do this to me. Please kill me. Qianyu was really scared. The pain of refining one's soul was the worst thing in the world. Qianyu would rather die than endure it. Kill you? That'll be too easy on you. Just enjoy the taste of purgatory, Gu Fei said and waved his hand to dismiss God Ancestor Jiotian. God Ancestor Jiotian left with Qianyu's origin soul. It's time to leave. Gu Fei looked up at the sky. At this moment, a divine flame suddenly appeared in the sky. That's... Gu Fei was shocked when he saw the fire. With a wave of his hand, the flame landed in his hand. In the next moment, a figure appeared in the divine fire. Father, save me! Linger? Chapter 4198. It's a bloodline message. What happened to Linger? Why did she send me a message to ask for help? Gu Fei could not stay calm. Gu Ling was his only daughter. He had given her the human emperor divine mace to protect her when she stepped on the ancient road of the human tribe. Could someone threaten Linger with the protection of the human emperor divine mace? At this time, the bloodline flame on Gu Fei's right palm was throbbing. Within the flame, the young girl's anxious and helpless expression made Gu Fei's heart tighten. Linger! I'll kill everyone who dares to touch my Linger! Gu Fei gritted his teeth and said, Master! At that moment, Wang Xuanji, Wang Xian and Emperor God Mo Yuan, who were waiting by the side, were shocked. They had never seen their master so furious before. Human world! I want to go back to the human world! Gu Fei abruptly stood up from the boulder. Pass on my order. Heaven Lord Jiu will control the Heaven Divine Realm. 9 Death Divine Master, Emperor Dark Knight, Emperor True Dragon, and Wang Xuanji will help. Whoever dares to disobey will be killed, Gu Fei said sternly. His voice was transmitted into the ears of everyone present. Yes, Master. Everyone on the peak of Incipient God Mountain knelt down before Gu Fei. At this moment, Emperor Dark Knight, 9 Death Divine Master, and Emperor True Dragon had not returned. However, Gu Fei was anxious to return. He didn't want to wait any longer. He wasn't worried that these fellows would cause trouble after he left. After all, he had placed a forbidden technique on these fellows. Their lives depended on their whims. Buzz! Gu Fei then took out the myriad world wheel. An ancient aura that seemed to come from a primitive world spread out from the myriad world wheel. This is... The so-called invincible giants in the Heaven Divine Realm had never seen a supreme Tao artifact like the Universal World Wheel. It was the number 1 Tao artifact in the Ancestral Realm. The aura emitted from the Wheel of Heavens and myriad realms made God Ancestor Jiu Tian and the others extremely terrified and their souls trembled. The Universal World Wheel could connect to the Heaven Punishment Realm. The human world was also one of the Universal World Wheel. Gu Fei could use it to reincarnate to the human world. However, Gu Fei knew very well that he would have to pay a huge price if he wanted to utilize the Universal World Cycle to enter the mortal dimension. However, it didn't matter how huge the price was. It was impossible for Gu Fei not to save his daughter. Furthermore, Zhao Hao, Meng Long, and Yan were all together with Gu Ling. They had stepped on the human ancient road together. Zhao Hao was the nephew of Zhao Zyra of the Zhao family in the Heaven Realm, and Yan'er was Gu Ling's disciple. Both of them had heaven-defying constitutions. Although Meng Long did not have a heaven-defying physique, he had an indomitable will to charge forward. This was why Gu Fei admired Meng Long so much. He saw himself in Meng Long when he was cultivating at Taishian Mountain. Back then, wasn't he also a crippled person who was regarded as useless by the disciples of the sect? Now, those who laughed at him and looked down on him were all dead. Even his opponent, Dong Fangchen, had been dead for a long time. Of course, the Dongfang family still existed. At this moment, all the living beings in the heavenly god realm felt an aura that wasn't very strong, but it was above everything. Countless living beings were terrified to the extreme. Master really came from the upper world. God Ancestor Jiu looked at the peak of Incipient God Mountain in fear. He had just sent Qian Yu's primordial spirit into purgatory to be tortured. As soon as the Universal World Wheel appeared, the entire Heaven Divine Realm trembled. Even the heavenly way was suppressed. In this world, nothing could compete with the Universal World Wheel. Brat, what do you want? A figure suddenly rushed out from Gu Fei's body. It was a disheveled old man. Seeing a person suddenly rush out from Gu Fei's body, the giants of the Heaven Divine Realm at the peak of Incipient God Mountain were all dumbfounded. I want to go back to the human realm. Gu Fei looked at the disheveled old man and said. This disheveled old man was the god of the mountain and river cauldron. As soon as the universal world wheel appeared, this guy was alarmed. Gu Fei's supreme Tao treasures had always been with him. Even though the primogenitor had sent him into the cycle of reincarnation, his supreme Tao treasures were still with him. However, with Gu Fei's current cultivation, it was really difficult for him to use the supreme Tao artifacts. Go back to the human realm? The disheveled old man looked up at the universal world wheel in the sky and then looked at Gu Fei. The disheveled old man shook his head and said, Given your current cultivation, if you force yourself to use the universal world wheel, your vitality will be greatly damaged. If worse comes to worst, your cultivation will disappear and you might even lose your life. I have to go back. Gu Fei was very determined. Are you crazy? The disheveled old man stared at Gu Fei and said in a deep voice. Gu Fei did not say anything. Sigh. It's a pity that I can't help you. Do as you see fit. With that, the disheveled old man turned into a divine light and rushed into Gu Fei's body. The mountain and river cauldron was in Supreme Tao Saint artifact, and the universal world wheel was known as the number 1 Supreme Tao artifact in the primogenitor world. Naturally, the universal world wheel would not be controlled by the mountain and river cauldron, which was also a Supreme Tao artifact. Without hesitation, Gu Fei channeled his mystic technique. The Wheel of Worlds in the sky moved, and an even stronger aura spread out from the Wheel of Worlds in the sky. Countless cracks appeared on the Wheel of Worlds in the sky. The Wheel of Heavens and Realms was not a complete Supreme Tao artifact. It was definitely not an easy task to repair this Supreme Tao artifact. Countless cracks appeared on the Wheel of Heavens and myriad worlds. This shocked Gu Fei. It wasn't an easy task to repair this Supreme Saint artifact. At that moment, Gu Fei spat a mouthful of fresh blood towards the universal world wheel. The next moment, the Wheel of Heavens and Realms began to vibrate. Divine inscriptions appeared on the Wheel of Heavens and Realms, and each rune was a world. At that moment, the universal world wheel's vitality was being devoured by the universal world wheel from afar. Although it was only for a few breaths, he could not hold on much longer. It was especially so when the power contained within the eternal true bone on his chest was being devoured by the universal world wheel. So what if his vitality was greatly damaged? Gu Fei gritted his teeth and held on bitterly. At that moment, new runes appeared continuously on the universal world wheel. However, there was still no human realm or the coordinates of the human realm. At that moment, a third of Gu Fei's powerful vitality had been devoured by the universal world wheel. Just as he was about to collapse, his eyes suddenly lit up. I've finally found it. Chapter 4199. At the peak of the incipient God Mountain, Gu Fei used the Wheel of all Heavens and Realms to open a passage between the heavenly realm and the human realm. He wanted to return to the human realm to save his beloved daughter. Guling actually used her bloodline to ask him for help. In order to save his daughter, nothing could stop him from returning to the human realm. Whether it was in the heavenly realm or the human realm, he had many enemies. Those people couldn't do anything to him, so they targeted his daughter. It was really despicable. After so many years, Guling's cultivation must have improved greatly. She also had the Supreme Emperor Divine Mace to protect her. The person who could put her in such a desperate situation, even if it wasn't a Supreme, was most likely a half-step Supreme. Moreover, the human realm had the power of heavenly punishment. The power of heavenly punishment could kill Supreme Masters. Therefore, the possibility of a Supreme Master appearing in the human realm was very low. For a moment, Gu Fei couldn't think of anyone who had the guts to attack his daughter. Thinking of this, Gu Fei wanted to return to the human realm even more. Boom! Gu Fei directly activated the Wheel of all Heavens and Realms. The moment the Wheel of all Heavens and Realms was activated, 80% of his cultivation was instantly absorbed by the Wheel of all Heavens and Realms. A mouthful of blood spurted out from Gu Fei's mouth. He had suffered a great impact from this. His cultivation was not enough. The Wheel of all heavens and realms was the #1 Supreme Tao artifact in the ancestral realm. To activate this Supreme Tao artifact, the price to pay was too high. Gu Fei didn't stop and continued to attack. The experts on the peak of the mountain were all stunned when they saw this scene. The wheel in the sky gradually rotated and slowly turned into a black hole. A spatial passage to the human realm was gradually formed. However, the power needed to maintain such a passage was too great. With Gu Fei's cultivation, he naturally couldn't bear it. However, he could attract the power of heaven and earth for his own use. With a thought, Gu Fei's powerful divine sense immediately rushed out from his body and instantly enveloped a region of 1,000,000 miles. In the next moment, the boundless spiritual qi of heaven and earth frantically gathered towards him. Shortly after, a massive vortex of spiritual qi appeared on the peak of incipient God Mountain. Beams of light that naked eyes could see came from a distance and entered Gu Fei's body. The incipient mountain was the core of the heavenly God realm. The heaven and earth spirit energy gathered here was much more than anywhere else in the heavenly God realm. However, with Gu Fei's absorption, the heavenly God realm's ancestral land's heaven-earth spirit qi was continuously drained away. Without Gu Fei, he was the only one here. Facing the pressure from all sides, he didn't even have time to cultivate. City Lord, the Zhao family sent people here again. This time, they want us to cede 15 cities. This is too much. An angry voice came from the palace of the City Lord. Yes, the people from the Dongfang family are here too. They want 10 cities. An old man in the main hall said. Humph! When Master is here, these guys don't even dare to fart. Now that Master is not here, they are getting more and more presumptuous. Tai Shuedois said coldly. What should we do? Should we inform Master Qing? A middle-aged scholar in cyan clothes said with a feather fan in his hand. He was the military advisor of Wanxiang City, Zhuge Liang. Only Tai Shuedois and Zhuge Liang were left out of the 13 bandits in the human world. The Master Qing they mentioned was Gu Fei's brother, Shaoqing. Now, Shaoqing had become a big shot in the human world. He was the holy lord of the demon race. Shaoqing had made a name for himself in the human world. How can we ask Master Qing for help every time? Tai Shuedois shook his head. If it wasn't for Shaoqing, their Wanxiang city would have been destroyed. Zhao family and Dongfang family were afraid of Gu Fei. However, the demons weren't afraid of Gu Fei. Recently, there were rumors that a great demon was born in the northernmost land. When is Master coming back? Tai Shuedois felt that he couldn't hold it anymore. Chapter 4200. In the mortal realm, outside of the sky ruins, the 5 great regions of the mortal realm were embroiled in constant war. The various powers fought against each other, causing countless lives to be lost. It was as though there was a dark hand in the underworld pushing everything. Humans, demons, immortals, beast men, demonic ancestors, and even the undead spirits all came out to cause trouble. The entire mortal realm seemed to have returned to the dark times of ancient times. At this moment, in a certain vast plain in the eastern domain, banners fluttered in the wind as the neighing of horses could be heard. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord of the human race personally led his troops into battle against the Beast Emperor of the demonic beasts. The human army was so vast that one couldn't see the end of it with a single glance. Each and every one of them was clad in thick armor and wielded a battle spear in their hands, radiating an intense battle intent. The war chariot of the Eastern Sage Royal Lord floated in the air, glowing with boundless golden light, resembling a golden divine sun that illuminated the heavens and earth. The 800,000 Imperial Guards of the Eastern Sage Royal Lord came out in full force. Isn't he afraid that someone would raid his base? In the air, silhouettes could be seen. The battle between the Eastern Sage Royal Dynasty and the Wanshou country had alarmed many experts, and many of them came here to spectate. In fact, there were even those from the evil path who came over to collect Yin souls to refine their evil treasures. One must know that after this battle, regardless of humans or beast men, there would be countless casualties. Such a large number of Yin souls was sufficient for those from the evil path to refine a pretty good treasure. Compared to the Eastern Sage Royal Lord's army, the formation of the Wanshou country's army was much more chaotic. However, the Eastern Sage Royal Lord didn't dare to underestimate the over 100,000 armored barbaric bulls at the very front. These armored barbaric bulls had thick skin and thick flesh. Ordinary weapons would find it hard to break through their scales. Each of them was akin to a small moving mountain. Even cultivators would be injured if they were rammed by these armored barbaric bulls. The Wanshou country used over 100,000 armored barbaric bulls as the vanguard, and behind them were the fire-breathing beasts. These fire-breathing beasts could spit out fireballs to kill their opponents. Other than the armored barbaric bulls and fire-breathing beasts, the Wanshou country also had an aerial force, the wyverns. These wyverns were actually gigantic lizards with wings. The Wanshou Empire's battle formation was not set up casually. Behind the fire-breathing beasts was the Beast Emperor's war chariot. This chariot was no ordinary chariot. It was made entirely of bronze, and was adorned with countless skulls. Yes, they were human skulls, and there were dozens of them. These were all powerful existences that had been killed by the Beast Emperor. The Beast Emperor had a habit of collecting the skulls of its opponents. Fight, fight, fight! The 800,000 soldiers of the Eastern Sage Army roared in unison, their voices shaking the heavens and earth. All the soldiers felt their blood boiling. This battle would determine the fate of the Eastern Sage Empire. Of course, this battle would also decide the fate of the Wanshou country. If they lost, the country would be destroyed. If they won, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Roar! The million beast soldiers of the Wanshou country were not to be outdone, roaring out in unison. A terrifying aura burst forth from the Wanshou country battle formation, causing the skies to change color. The people from the eastern world don't seem to be here. I don't see those old beasts of the beast race appearing either. The experts spectating the battle from afar discussed. Behind the Eastern Sage Empire was the Dongfang aristocrat clan, while behind the Wanshou country was the beast race. Regardless of the Dongfang aristocrat clan or the beast race, both were the strongest powers in the eastern region. Kill! At this moment, the Eastern Sage Royal Lord roared in rage. The sword in his hand abruptly pointed forward, and in the next instant, the 800,000 Imperial Guards of the Eastern Sage Empire charged towards the Wanshou country battle formation like a tidal wave. Kill! The Beast Emperor of the Wanshou country also roared in rage. He waved the spiked mace in his hand, and the hundreds of thousands of armored barbarian bulls instantly rushed forward. The sound of their hooves stomping on the ground echoed with thunderous rumbling sounds, causing dust to billow up into the air as the entire earth trembled. In the next instant, behind the armored barbarian bulls, countless fireballs soared up into the skies, blasting towards the Eastern Sage army. The 800,000 human soldiers raised their shields at the same time. The divine light from the shields merged together as a gigantic barrier of light enveloped all the soldiers. Boom! The first fireball landed on the barrier of light, instantly exploding apart. However, the barrier didn't budge in the slightest. After that, countless fireballs rained down from the skies, enveloping the entire human formation. The temperature of the surroundings instantly soared. With the protection of the barrier, although the human formation seemed to have fallen into a sea of fire, in reality, it wasn't damaged at all. Boom! At this moment, the sound of a heavy collision rang out. The first armored barbarian bull smashed ruthlessly into the advancing shields, directly exploding its head as it died. At the forefront of the human army's battle formation were thick shields that were 3 meters tall and had sharp spikes on them. Each of the shields weighed 5,000 kilograms. Although there were wheels underneath them, it would take more than 10 warriors to move them at the same time. Those war soldiers were no ordinary war soldiers. Rather, they were all cultivators with cultivation bases. Naturally, these soldiers couldn't be immortal rank soldiers, but they weren't too far from it. One must know that these were the strongest soldiers of the Eastern Sage Empire. These generals were all immortal rank soldiers. There was even Shin King, and the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord was a quasi-saint. At this moment, the sounds of collisions rang out as numerous armored barbarian bulls rushed over with no regard for their lives, causing the shields to tremble violently. Some of the soldiers were even flung backwards from the impact. Boom! All of a sudden, a shield was smashed into smithereens as a barbarian bull that was even larger and stronger than ordinary armored barbarian bulls directly rushed into the battle formation. Kill! The surrounding soldiers instantly surrounded the barbarian bull as they ruthlessly stabbed their spears towards it. Clang! A soldier's spear pierced into the body of the barbarian bull, causing sparks to fly in all directions. The spear only left a white mark on the barbarian bull's scales. What? That soldier was badly startled. That spear strike earlier felt as though it had struck divine steel. Not only was it unable to break through the barbarian bull's scales, it even caused a slight pain in his hand. Moo! With a single charge, the barbarian bull directly knocked over 10 soldiers into the air. Its horn even pierced through the chest of one of the soldiers, causing him to be flung into the air. Disperse, let me handle it! At this moment, a general strode out. He pulled out the saber at his waist, and with a swing of his saber, he sliced the charging armored bull in half. And at this moment, the human army clashed with the beast-men army. Both sides fought with their lives on the line, and countless beasts died. However, the human army also suffered heavy casualties. Chapter 42:01. In the eastern region of the mortal world, the armies of the Eastern Sage Empire and the Wanshou country were having a decisive battle in the eastern desolate plains. The Emperor of the Eastern Sage Empire personally led an army of 800,000 elites, wanting to destroy the Wanshou country. However, the Wanshou country wasn't a force to be trifled with. The Beast Emperor of the Wanshou country sent out 1,000,000 beastly soldiers, wanting to crush the 800,000-strong army of the Eastern Sage Empire, adding the Wanshou country into their territory. Regardless of the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord or the Wanshou country's Beast Emperor, both of them were overlords of an area, possessing incomparably powerful combat prowess. Eastern Sage Imperial Lord, prepare to die! The Beast Emperor roared in rage, directly driving his war chariot towards the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord. An intense baleful aura gushed forth from the Beast Emperor. Good timing, let me slay the Beast Emperor with a single sword strike. I'll use your Beast Emperor's blood as a sacrifice for my divine sword. The Eastern Sage Imperial Lord roared as he directly attacked. A resplendent beam of sword light shot out from the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord's hand, directly slashing towards the Beast Emperor. Haha, you want to kill me? You don't have that ability. The Beast Emperor laughed uproariously. However, a pitch-black beast claw directly slammed out from the war chariot, directly dissipating the sword light before continuing on towards the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord. Heaven-severing sword! The Eastern Sage Imperial Lord gritted his teeth and directly unleashed his trump card. Shwa! The sword light flashed quickly in the void. In the next moment, the beast claw that was attacking him also dissipated in the void under the sword light. Blood splattered everywhere as the Beast Emperor screamed in agony, directly rushing out from his war chariot. In the next instant, his war chariot was actually split into two. The Beast Emperor was defeated? Just when the Eastern Sage Imperial Lord was about to attack again, a black hole appeared in the skies. After that, a figure fell out from the black hole. This is... The Eastern Sage Imperial Lord was shocked when he saw this. That figure directly fell from the skies, and with a rumbling sound, he directly smashed into the battlefield below. In the next instant, the earth trembled as dust rose up into the air. Within a radius of 1,000 meters, everyone, including the beast men, were directly flung away as a huge crater appeared on the ground. What? Everyone who was watching the battle from afar was shocked by this sudden scene. At this time, the guy who fell from the sky walked out of the big pit on the ground. It's a human! Kill! A beast general roared as he took a huge step forward and smashed his hammer down on that person's head. That was a bronze hammer the size of a watermelon. If he was hit, he would be smashed into pieces. However, that person didn't seem to know what was happening. He stood there swaying as if he was about to fall. When the big bronze hammer came crashing down, he was looking around in confusion. Clang! The hammer in the beast general's hand smashed fiercely into the man's head, causing a muffled sound to ring out. The hammer in the beast general's hand was sent flying, and his hand was shattered. What? The people who witnessed this scene were all stunned, especially the beast general. He was very clear about the power of his hammer. Even a small mountain would be smashed to pieces. However, when the copper hammer hit the man's head, it did not hurt him at all. Where is this place? As if he didn't know that he had just been hit on the head, the man's confused eyes gradually cleared up. Human world, I'm finally back, haha. That person suddenly laughed out loud. He was Gu Fei, who had just returned from the heaven god world. At this time, Gu Fei was in an extremely sorry state. His entire body was covered in dust, his hair was messy like a bird's nest, and his clothes were tattered. Some parts of his body were even stained with blood. Roar! Just then, the beast general in front of Gu Fei roared and smashed his hammer at him with all his might. These bronze hammers were the tools that made this beast general famous. You're asking for death! Gu Fei reached out with his right hand and grabbed the incoming bronze hammer. With a bam, the bronze hammer that was bigger than a watermelon was destroyed just like that. The beast general was dumbfounded. Bam! At this time, Gu Fei kicked the beast general and sent him flying. In an instant, more than a dozen warriors were smashed to the ground. Swoosh! At this moment, a beam of divine light descended from the sky and pierced through Gu Fei. The beast emperor was attacking, and his wounds were healing rapidly. Within the beam of light was a battle spear. Gu Fei furrowed his brows and casually waved his hand, sending the spear flying out. At this moment, the skies suddenly darkened. The air force of the Wanshou country had finally made their move. Numerous pterosaurs descended from the skies, snatching away the soldiers on the ground. Kill! The Eastern Sage Royal Lord was both shocked and enraged when he saw this. He directly took out the sword he had cultivated his entire life, and the sword instantly transformed into countless beams of sword light. The sword light shot up the skies, and the pterosaurs in the skies all fell down like dumplings. Eastern Sage Royal Lord, I will kill you! The Beast Emperor's eyes turned red when he saw the Eastern Sage Royal Lord slaughtering his own people. He wanted to fight to the death with the Eastern Sage Royal Lord. However, the Eastern Sage Royal Lord had no intentions of fighting to the death with him. Incomparably sharp beams of sword light shot out unceasingly from his hands. Each beam of sword light tore through the air, slashing towards the Beast Emperor. The Beast Emperor roared in rage, and his body trembled violently as a protective barrier of light appeared around him. Countless beams of sword light slammed into the barrier of light, causing it to tremble violently. However, it didn't break through. At this moment, a silhouette dashed up from the ground and punched out at the Beast Emperor. His fist easily penetrated the barrier of light, and landed on the Beast Emperor's chest. In the next instant, the sound of bones breaking rang out from the Beast Emperor's body. His entire chest caved in from the impact, and his chest was pressed against his back. You! The Beast Emperor stared at Gu Fei in disbelief. He didn't even manage to say a single word before his entire body exploded, transforming into a mist of blood. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord couldn't help but be extremely shocked when he saw this. Killing the Beast Emperor with a single punch. The Beast Emperor was a quasi-paragon, a hegemon of an entire region. How could he be killed by a single punch? The spectators all felt as though they were in a dream. This was too surreal. Gu Fei returned to the human world and killed the Beast Emperor with a single punch. In order to return to the human world, he paid a heavy price. His original cultivation base was almost crippled, and the him now only had the eternal true bone. If he encountered a true saint, he would truly be in for a ride of misfortune. Given his current cultivation base, he could already contend against a quasi-saint. Attacking me consecutively, do you think I'm easy to bully? After killing the Beast Emperor with a single punch, Gu Fei dusted his hands and directly flew towards the Eastern Sage Royal Lord. Chapter 4202. Gu Fei killed the Beast Emperor with a single punch, shocking the entire crowd. Everyone halted their steps in unison as they stared in shock at the scene in the air. His Majesty the Beast Emperor died? An old beast stared in terror at the silhouette in the air as his voice trembled. The countless soldiers of the Wanshou country were all terrified to the extreme. With the death of the Beast Emperor, the ending of this battle was already decided. Retreat! That old beast howled in grief and anger. His voice reverberated through the entire eastern desolate region. The wyverns in the air instantly turned and fled. The fire-breathing beasts, armored bulls and other demonic beasts all turned and fled for their lives. The Beast Emperor was the backbone of the countless soldiers. With the death of the Beast Emperor, countless soldiers instantly felt fear. And just when the army of beasts was fleeing, Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the Eastern Sage Royal Lord. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord was incomparably nervous, but he forced himself to remain calm. One must know that he was the Royal Lord of a dynasty after all. He naturally couldn't lose his composure in front of so many people. Many thanks for Senior's help. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord clasped his hands towards Gu Fei in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Cut the crap, I want to know the current situation in the Eastern region and the human realm. Gu Fei spoke as he directly stretched his hand out, grabbing towards the Eastern Sage Royal Lord's head. Senior, you! The Eastern Sage Royal Lord was badly startled. When Gu Fei appeared, he was already on guard. The instant he saw Gu Fei making a move, he instantly retreated with explosive speed. This fellow killed the Beast Emperor with a single punch. The Beast Emperor's cultivation base and combat prowess were on par with him. If Qin Wentian could kill the Beast Emperor, it meant that Qin Wentian could also kill him. However, the Eastern Sage Royal Lord had no way to escape. Just as he moved, Gu Fei's right hand had already grabbed onto the crown of his head. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord only felt his head tightening as he felt a splitting headache as though his head was about to explode. Royal Lord! The generals under the Eastern Sage Royal Lord were all frightened out of their wits when they saw this scene. If the Eastern Sage Royal Lord died, they would most probably be buried together with him. Senior, why did you? An old god of war riding on a golden lion rushed over. He gripped his spear tightly and stared at Gu Fei nervously. Gu Fei didn't pay any attention to the old god of war. In the next moment, he activated his Xian art and directly read this guy's soul memory. In his eyes, the Eastern Sage Royal Lord was nothing but an ant. But no matter what, this fellow was still the emperor of the human race. He had no intention of killing the Eastern Sage Royal Lord. Dongfang family, Primordial Zhao family, Myriad Phenomenon City, Iron Blood Taoist. The true rulers of the Eastern Territory of the mortal dimension were only those extraordinary powers. No matter how many years had passed, it was still the same, and it basically wouldn't change. This was because these forces were deeply rooted and very difficult to shake. In the last 10 million years, only Gu Fei had broken the balance of powers in the entire Eastern Territory, and even the entire mortal dimension. Demons are dancing wildly, they've all come out. Gu Fei sighed. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord was a quasi-saint, a royal lord of a generation and naturally knew many things. And behind the Eastern Sage Royal Dynasty, there was actually the Dongfang family. Back then, the grudge between Gu Fei and the Dongfang family was temporarily put aside by Jiang Renwang. But from the looks of it now, the Dongfang family and the Zhao clan seemed to have forgotten the pain after the scar healed. The Myriad Phenomenon City was Gu Fei's territory. Before Gu Fei left, he had conquered a vast territory and became the strongest power in the eastern region. However, after Gu Fei left the mortal dimension, the days of the Iron Blood Taoist weren't good. At the start, the Zhao and Dongfang family didn't dare to do anything. However, when the Jiang clan of the Desolate Era couldn't even fend for themselves and the old turtle summoned Shaoqing back to the Heaven Realm, the two major powers of the eastern region started to get restless. There were changes in the Heaven Realm and the old turtle had to stay in the Heaven Realm. Hence, the Zhao and Dongfang clan became even more unbridled and actually started to devour Gu Fei's territory. Today, they would seize a city, tomorrow, they would seize a region. During these years, the territories Gu Fei had conquered were almost half devoured by the two major powers. The Iron-Blood Taoist was furious, but he didn't dare to say anything. One must know that without the support of the old turtle, how could he contend against the Zhao and Dongfang clan? Naturally, the Zhao and Dongfang clan were still wary of Gu Fei. If Gu Fei returned, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Good, very good. Ha! Gu Fei released the Eastern Sage Royal Lord as he laughed uproariously. Terrifying sound waves blasted out in all directions, causing the entire space to tremble. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord was directly flung 1,000 miles away by the sound waves as he coughed out blood unceasingly. Countless soldiers fainted from the impact. Everyone was shocked to the extreme. Who is this person? He actually killed the Beast Emperor of the Wanzhou country with a single punch and captured the Eastern Sage Royal Lord with a single strike. Such a cultivation base, is he a saint? Someone exclaimed in shock. The combat prowess displayed by Gu Fei was simply too shocking. One must know that these two supreme experts were all quasi-sages. If he wasn't a saint, what else could he be? The current human realm was already different from the past. Let alone saints, even saint kings and even quasi-paragons would jump out. Naturally, quasi-paragons were like dragons that moved their heads but not their tails. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see them. Even for saints, it wasn't so easy to meet them. New grudges and old grudges. Let's settle them all together. Gu Fei spoke as he soared up into the sky, transforming into a beam of divine light that instantly vanished into the horizon. Upon seeing Gu Fei's departure, the countless generals of the Eastern Sage Royal Dynasty heaved a sigh of relief. They were so afraid that this expert who suddenly appeared would act against them. Kill! Kill all these savage beasts! After regaining their senses, the Eastern Sage Divine Generals roared in rage at their own troops. This was an extremely rare opportunity to annihilate the Wanzhou Empire. Momentarily, the army of the Eastern Sage Royal Dynasty was like the tides, chasing after the fleeing savage beasts. The Eastern Sage Royal Lord stared in the direction where Gu Fei disappeared as he felt an indescribable shock. In front of this person, he couldn't even be compared to an ant. If Gu Fei wanted to kill the Eastern Sage Royal Lord, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. At this moment in the myriad phenomenon city, the Iron-Blood Taoist was at his wit's end. He initially wanted to send people to the heavenly realm, but he ultimately gave up on this idea because the people he sent out wouldn't be able to reach the heavenly realm. The Iron-Blood Taoist was very clear who did this. In fact, even if his people could go to the heavenly realm and meet with Shaoqing, they might not be able to invite Shaoqing over. City Lord, what should we do now? Even the intelligent Zhuge Liang was at his wit's end at this moment. Promise them. In the great hall of the City Lord Manor, the Iron-Blood Taoist gritted his teeth as he spoke. When Master returns, these fellows will know how wrong they were. The Iron-Blood Taoist said in a low voice. All of them had Gu Fei's imprint on them. Once Gu Fei falls, they would be buried with him. Now that they were still alive, Gu Fei would naturally be alive as well. That's right, these clans are laughable. Once Master returns, I'm afraid they won't even be able to cry. Zhuge Liang waved the feather fan in his hand and said, "Ha, at least you guys are tactful." At this moment, a loud laughter resounded from outside the great hall. The Iron-Blood Taoist raised his head abruptly, and saw two people swaggering in from outside the hall. "Zhao Jianfeng, Dongfang Juanxiong, you guys." When Zhuge Liang saw the two of them, his expression changed. The expressions of the other experts in the great hall changed as well. "Ha, aren't you going to treat us with good food and wine?" "If we are in a good mood, we will go back and put in some good words for you guys in front of our clan lord. You guys will definitely soar." The Zhao clan's Zhao Jianfeng said with disdain. "That's right. If you treat us well, you guys will receive many benefits." Dongfang Juanxiong added. "You guys." The Iron-Blood Taoist was shocked, furious, and unwilling. However, he couldn't do anything to the two of them. One must know that the two of them were envoys sent by the Dongfang clan and the primordial Era's Zhao clan. If he were to kill them, it would be the same as declaring war against the two great forces. The iron-blood Taoist could only swallow his anger. Who dares to cause trouble here? At this moment, a voice resounded from outside the great hall. Hearing this voice, the iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang revealed expressions of disbelief before becoming extremely excited. The iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang looked towards the great hall's entrance and saw a young man in black walking in step by step. Seeing the young man in black, the iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang were indescribably shocked. This person was Gu Fei. Gu Fei looked even younger than before. He was getting younger as he lived. Who are you? How dare you act so impudently in front of us? Aren't you afraid of death? Dongfang Jianxiong roared at Gu Fei. He didn't take this young man seriously at all. Humph, why are you talking so much nonsense? Kill! Dao Jianfeng snorted coldly and stretched out his hand to grab Gu Fei. Ha ha! Gu Fei laughed. The iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang laughed as well. This guy doesn't know what's good for him. In the eyes of the iron-blood Taoist and the rest, Zhao Jianfeng and Dongfang Jianxiong were really silly and cute. Gu Fei slapped him. Slap! With a resounding slap, Zhao Jianfeng was sent flying to the side by Gu Fei. He crashed into a pillar and almost broke it. Zhao Jianfeng fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Among the blood, there were a dozen teeth. In the next moment, the left side of his face swelled up. You! Seeing this, Dongfang Jianxiong was really shocked. When Gu Fei looked at him, he couldn't help but take a step back. Master is finally back. The iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang were extremely excited at this moment. How dare you hit someone from the Zhao family? Dongfang Jianxiong's voice was trembling. So what if I did? I'm going to hit you too. As Gu Fei spoke, he waved his right hand and gave another loud slap. Dongfang Jianxiong, the envoy of the Dongfang family, was also sent flying and became dizzy from the slap. Just wait to be destroyed. At this moment, Zhao Jianfeng stood up shakily from the ground and stared at Gu Fei viciously. And you guys, Wanxiang City will be wiped off the ground. Zhao Jianfeng glanced at the iron-blood Taoist and said coldly, Humph! Want to destroy me? I'll destroy you first. As Gu Fei spoke, he struck out with his palm. Zhao Jianfeng didn't even have the chance to scream before he was smashed into meat paste. Chapter 4203. How dare you squeak in front of me? I'll slap you to death! Gu Fei casually smashed the arrogant envoy of the Zhao family, Zhao Jianfeng, into minced meat with a palm strike. He immediately died, and even his soul had dispersed. He could no longer convert to the way of ghosts even if he wanted to. Everyone present gasped. Zhao Jianfeng was a quasi-sage, yet he was casually slapped to death by this young man in black? Is this young man a young sage? In the hall, only the two old men, the iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang, knew of Gu Fei's identity. The others were all newcomers and they had never seen Gu Fei before. Gu Fei had been away for a long time. Ever since the emergence of the power of heavenly punishment, the human world had been in chaos. The 5 major regions of the human world were in turmoil, especially with the appearance of the demons, which made the human world even more chaotic. Moreover, Gu Fei had a great enmity with the demons. Countless demon Dao experts had died in his hands. He even annihilated the East region demon lair and killed countless demons. However, even if Gu Fei annihilated the East region demon lair, the East region was still plagued by demons. Especially in Wanxiang City, the demons would attack from time to time. Over the years, other than the iron-blood Taoist and Zhu Guiliang, the others in Wanxiang City were all new faces. Do you know what you're doing? At this moment, a middle-aged man in the hall shouted angrily at Gu Fei. Why? Do you have a problem with me killing this guy? Gu Fei looked at the man. This man was sitting on the first seat below the city lord's throne. He must be one of the higher-ups in Wanxiang City, second only to the city lord, the iron-blood Taoist, and the military advisor, Zhuge Liang. Of course I have a problem. Do you know that you're in trouble? Killing Zhao Jianfeng will infuriate the Zhao clan and Wanxiang city will be destroyed. The middle-aged man said coldly. Is that so? Gu Fei looked at the middle-aged man with a faint smile and said, What if I kill this guy too? Gu Fei said and looked at Dongfang Juanxiong. What? Seeing Gu Fei looking at him, Dongfang Juanxiong was shocked. How dare you? The middle-aged man glared at Gu Fei and said, Haha, why wouldn't I dare? There is nothing in this world that I dare not do. Gu Fei waved his right hand and slapped at Dongfang Juanxiong. Dongfang Juanxiong immediately dodged, but in the next moment, he was horrified to find out that he couldn't move, not even a finger. No! Dongfang Juanxiong was scared out of his wits. He could only watch helplessly as his opponent's palm came towards him. Just a moment ago, this palm had turned Zhao Jianfeng of the Zhao family into minced meat. Impudent! The middle-aged man was enraged when he saw this. He leapt up from his seat and swung his palm at Gu Fei. Berserk Saint realm power erupted from his hand, causing the space to tremble. This middle-aged man was actually a saint. The iron-blood Taoist and Zhuge Liang didn't stop him. Since this guy dared to attack their master, he deserved to be killed by their master. They didn't know that Gu Fei was forced into reincarnation by the first demon ancestor, and his cultivation was almost erased by the power of reincarnation. Although he managed to recover some of his cultivation, it was still his first time facing a saint. Even Gu Fei didn't know if he could fight against a real saint with his current cultivation and battle strength. He had never experienced such a state before. No one knew how powerful the eternal real bone was. Bam! Gu Fei slapped Dongfang Juanxiong's right hand and turned him into a bloody mist. Even his primordial spirit exploded and dissipated in the void. At the same time, he raised his left hand and blocked the middle-aged man's palm. The hall was instantly filled with a powerful force, as if a terrifying wind was blowing. The people in the hall felt pain on their faces as if sharp blades were slicing across their faces. Humph! Gu Fei stomped his right foot. Bam! The entire city lord's residence shook. At the same time, his spine shook like a dragon and an even more powerful force surged into his left hand. He shook his left hand and sent the middle-aged saint flying backward. He fell to the ground in an extremely pathetic manner. The middle-aged saint was in disbelief. This young man isn't even a quasi-saint. He's at most an almighty. How could he possibly block his palm? It wasn't rare for an almighty to kill a quasi-saint. The battle strength that Gu Fei displayed was simply astonishing. One must know that there were many heaven-defying existences in the current world. These geniuses among geniuses could kill opponents of a higher cultivation level than them. However, these heaven-defying existences couldn't and wouldn't dare to challenge a saint. In the eyes of a saint, anyone below the saint level was just an ant. Yet, an ant had actually shaken a true dragon. This was unbelievable. How could this be? This was absolutely impossible. How is this possible? The upper echelons of Wanxiang City in the hall were all dumbfounded. Who exactly are you? The middle-aged saint stood up from the ground and glared at Gu Fei. Would you don't be rude. At this moment, the iron-blood Taoist finally spoke. City Lord's residence, you. The saint named Wujue looked at the iron-blood Taoist in confusion. Master, you're finally back. Before the iron-blood Taoist could say anything, Zhuge Liang had already rushed up and hugged Gu Fei's thigh as he began to cry and complain. Everyone was dumbfounded. One must know that Zhuge Liang was the second most powerful person in Wanxiang City. Sometimes, even the iron-blood Taoist had to listen to him. However, the usually high and mighty great sage Zhuge had actually lost his composure in front of this black-clothed young man. Chapter 4204. Greetings, Master! The iron-blood Taoist stood up and knelt before Gu Fei. Greetings, Master! The group of Wanxiang City's upper echelons in the city lord's mansion's main hall all knelt down towards Gu Fei. This. The Wujua saint was dumbfounded when he saw this. He looked at Gu Fei in horror. This black-robed young man is the legendary Gu Fei who trampled on the demon ancestor and killed the paramount ruler with a single punch. Gu Fei had leveled the East region devil lair, which was a great contribution to the human race. He had also fought in the sky market, killed the terminus ruler, reopened the heavenly gate, and reconstructed the path of heaven. This was a major event that had a profound impact on both the heaven realm and the human realm. Gu Fei had changed the situation of the heaven realm and the human realm single-handedly. Gu Fei's deeds had already spread throughout the human realm and heaven realm. However, even though he had made great contributions to the human race, there were still countless human race experts who wanted his life. Gu Fei had many friends, but he also had many enemies. Whether it was the Dongfang family, the primordial Zhao family, the East Sky Emperor Yuan Gu, or of course, the demons, they were all Gu Fei's greatest enemies. They didn't dare to cause trouble for Gu Fei, but they dared to cause trouble for his daughter, Gu Ling, and his subordinate, the Iron Blood Taoist. In fact, with Gu Fei's strength, he had established forces in various great realms. If he united these forces, who in the world could be his opponent? He had left behind forces in the desolate world, ancestral god realm, and ancestral realm. The heaven realm had the old tortoise, and the human realm had the Iron Blood Taoist. Iron Blood, you're not bad. Gu Fei looked at the Iron Blood Taoist who was kneeling on the ground. This guy had actually cultivated to the great sage realm. It seemed like he hadn't been idle all these years. The great saint of Iron Blood was the strongest expert in Wanxiang City. Zhuge Liang was a little weaker, only at the great perfection of Saint King realm. However, this was still not bad. With the Iron Blood Sage presiding over the myriad phenomenon city, and the killing array laid down by Gu Fei, even a quasi-supremacy wouldn't be able to breach the city. In the mortal realm, supreme beings couldn't appear. The power of heavenly punishment suppressed supreme beings, so no supreme beings dared to appear in the mortal realm. Master? Saint Wujue's voice was trembling. Impudent! Why aren't you kneeling? The iron-blooded great saint said angrily to Saint Wujue. Yes. Greetings, Master. Saint Wujue immediately knelt before Gu Fei. Get up! Gu Fei waved his hand and walked straight to the throne in the middle of the hall. When he arrived before the throne, he sat down without any hesitation. At that moment, a furious roar rang out from the ancestral grounds of the Zhao family. The Iron Blood Taoist actually dared to kill my men. He deserves to die. A white-robed young man walked out from the depths of the ancestral grounds of the Zhao family. The white-robed young man soared into the sky and instantly disappeared from the world. At the same time, another person walked out from the ancestral grounds of the Dongfang family. This person was a sage from the eastern world and was extremely powerful. Whoosh! The sage of the Dongfang family took a step and instantly disappeared into the void. Iron Blood Taoist, come out and die! Outside the myriad phenomenon city, the white-robed young man from the Zhao family shouted. Zhao Xiu, come in if you can! On top of the city wall, the Iron Blood Taoist said to the white-robed young man, Zhao Xiu. His tone was filled with disdain. You! Zhao Xiu was furious, but he didn't dare to attack the myriad phenomenon city recklessly because the entire myriad phenomenon city was a gigantic formation. Why? You don't dare? The Iron Blood Taoist laughed on top of the city wall. Zhao Xiu was also a great sage, but Gu Fei had made his name much earlier than Zhao Xiu. Kill! Zhao Xiu was furious and immediately used his Dao tool. A divine light rushed out from the top of his head, and a divine saber was wrapped in the divine light. Whoosh! The divine saber pierced through the sky and the saber radiance soared as though it could split the entire world in half. Seeing Zhao Xiu unleash such a powerful move, the cultivators in the myriad phenomenon city were all shocked. Zhao Xiu really lived up to his reputation. Zhao Xiu was the most outstanding descendant of the Zhao family from the desolate region. Together with the goddess of the Zhao family, he became the next successor of the Zhao family's family head. Of course, there was only one family head. The position of family head would belong to whoever won. Zhao Xiu's reputation was not as famous as the goddess of the Zhao family. However, his cultivation was on par with the goddess of the Zhao family. If they were to fight to the death, they would have to fight until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Rumble! The heavens and the earth shook as an incomparably powerful energy wave spread across the world. Buzz! The incomparably resplendent saber radiance landed in the sky above the myriad phenomenon city. In the next moment, a layer of divine light appeared in the sky above the myriad phenomenon city and blocked the saber radiance. What? Zhao Xiu couldn't help but frown. The myriad phenomenon city's city protection formation was indeed different. It was said that it was created by Gu Fei. It seemed like it was true. Gu Fei was an expert of his generation. He conquered everywhere and swept across the human realm. Even in the heaven realm, no one was his match, and he even flattened a perilous land. His cultivation base, his battle prowess, and his battle achievements were probably unparalleled throughout the ages. The rulers of the desolate perilous lands were not to be trifled with. Zhao Xiu extended his right hand and the resplendent saber radiance immediately flew back to him. He held it in his hand and the divine light dissipated. A black saber appeared in his hand. Peerless saber? The iron-blood Taoist's heart skipped a beat when he saw the black saber in Zhao Xiu's hand. This saber was very famous. It was a famous Tao artifact of the desolate era Zhao clan. Its name was Peerless Saber. This was a quasi-supreme Tao artifact that could unleash a full-powered attack of a quasi-supreme. However, with Zhao Xiu's cultivation and battle prowess, it was impossible for him to unleash the full power of this Peerless Saber. Again! Zhao Xiu held the saber with both hands and slashed out again. This time, the saber radiance illuminated the entire world. It was 10 times brighter than before, and it was so bright that no one could open their eyes. Even the iron-blood Taoist felt his eyes hurt. This shocked him. The power of this peerless saber was indeed terrifying. Could it be comparable to his phoenix tribulation? However, even if Zhao Xiu's saber could slash down the stars in the sky and split open the divine mountain, it still couldn't break the myriad phenomenon city's city protection formation. A layer of divine light enveloped the entire myriad phenomenon city and blocked the peerless saber radiance outside. Countless formation runes interweaved on the divine light and formed ancient Tao diagrams. Although Gu Fei wasn't a formation grandmaster, the formations he laid down weren't something just anyone could break. Good. Haha, very good. Chapter 4205. Zhao Xiu was one of the most outstanding descendants of the Zhao clan of the Desolation in the human realm. He was also one of the most outstanding people of the Zhao clan in the past tens of thousands of years. He had only cultivated for a few thousand years, yet he was already a great saint. In addition, he held a peerless saber in his hand. Even heavenly sovereigns were wary of him and didn't want to provoke him. The peerless divine saber of the Zhao clan of the Desolation was a quasi-supreme Tao tool. With Zhao Xiu's cultivation, he naturally couldn't unleash the true power of this peerless divine saber. At this moment, Gu Fei was sitting on the throne of the Wanxiang City Lord's palace. His eyes could see through the void and directly see Zhao Xiu, who was high up in the sky outside the city. How is this guy's cultivation compared to the Zhao clan's goddess? Gu Fei asked Zhuge Liang, who was beside him. Master, it's really hard to say. The Zhao clan's goddess might be a bit stronger, but she has been in seclusion for 300 years. I don't know what her cultivation is now. Zhuge Liang muttered. It turned out that the Zhao clan's goddess had been in seclusion for a long time this time. It had already been 300 years. Of course, for an existence like the Zhao clan's goddess, it wouldn't be strange for her to be in seclusion for 1,000 years, let alone 300 years. Some old monsters would even be in seclusion for tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. Any news about Azure Dragon? Gu Fei suddenly thought of this old rival of his. In the past, the southern wasteland was filled with geniuses. However, when Gu Fei appeared, he single-handedly defeated all the heroes of the southern wasteland. He was almost invincible among the younger generation. At that time, Azure Dragon was his greatest rival. However, even Azure Dragon was defeated by Gu Fei in the end. Therefore, Gu Fei could be said to be invincible among the younger generation of the Southern Desolate. Azure Dragon? I haven't heard from him for a long time, Zhuge Liang said. The current Southern Desolate was no longer the Southern Desolate of the past. The four ancient clans completely dominated the Southern Desolate. Even the Zhou clan had to retreat. One should know that the Zhou clan of the Desolate was not to be trifled with. Even the Zhou family of the ancients was unwilling to provoke the four ancient clans. One could only imagine how strong the four ancient clans were right now. I came back this time to see my old friend. However, there is something I have to do immediately. Gu Fei's expression turned serious. Master, please instruct us. We will do anything for you. The upper echelons of Wanxiang City in the main hall hurriedly said. Is the human race's ancient road still controlled by the Qin clan? Gu Fei said. Yes, the Qin clan is an imperial clan and once had a great emperor. I heard that the old ancestor of the Qin clan, the Qin emperor, has a quasi-supreme cultivation base and is just a step away from becoming a paragon. Zhuge Liang said. Because of the existence of the heavenly punishment, no matter if it was the heaven realm or the human realm, those quasi-sovereigns didn't dare to take that step. One had to understand that once one took that step, they would draw down the wrath of the heavens. That was the same as courting death. Of course, there were some who didn't believe it and took that step with the belief that man could conquer the heavens. After that, there was no more after that. No matter who it was, no matter how heaven-defying their physique and cultivation base, under the wrath of the heavenly punishment, there would only be one outcome, death in both body and soul. Ever since Gu Fei left, the Qin clan flourished. This Qin clan even occupied the entrance of the human race's ancient road. Anyone who wanted to step on the human race's ancient road would have to pay a toll. Qin Emperor. Gu Fei thought of the old man in the past. The great emperors of the human realm weren't comparable to the great emperors of the heavenly god world. Those great emperors of the heavenly god world were hierarchs and not even saints. However, the great emperors of the human realm were different. They were existences that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the human emperor and contend against extreme supremes. It wasn't a secret that the Qin clan once had a great emperor. Hence, the Qin clan was also known as an imperial clan. Back then, Qin Yao was the princess. I want to take a trip to the human race's ancient road. Gu Fei said. What? Everyone couldn't help but be shocked. Their master actually wanted to take the human race's ancient road? With their master's cultivation base, there was no need for him to take the human race's ancient road. One should know that before Gu Fei left, he was already in existence that could contend against the quasi-supreme. Now, no one could see through Gu Fei's strength. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise came from outside. In the next moment, a cold saber-chi arrived, ignoring the barrier between the void and the house. Zhao Xiu, this fella. Zhuge Liang was furious. He directly waved his hand and the protective formation of the hall immediately activated, blocking the saber-chi. At this time, in the sky outside, Zhao Xiu's body emitted endless divine light. His entire body seemed to have become one with the peerless divine saber in his hand. Becoming one with the saber? Gu Fei smiled. This Zhao Xiu was indeed amazing. One should know that the saber in his hand was a quasi-supreme Dao tool while he, Zhao Xiu, was only a great saint. If it was anyone else, their body and soul would have been destroyed by the peerless saber-chi from the peerless divine saber. The sacred body of a great saint could not withstand the power of a quasi-supreme, but Zhao Xiu had indeed broken through the shackles. He was actually using the body of a great saint to attract the power of a quasi-supreme for his own use. Such a method was truly terrifying. Ridiculous, be careful that you don't explode. On top of the city wall, the Iron Blood Taoist stared at the figure in the sky with a solemn expression. The other party had become one with the saber, and could perform a quasi-supreme attack. Under such an attack, no one knew if the protective formation of Wenxiang City could withstand it. The Iron Blood Taoist hurriedly operated the protective formation with all his might. A layer of dazzling light barrier appeared in the sky above Wenxiang City, enveloping the entire city. On the layer of light barrier, there were countless Tao patterns interweaving. Ancient Tao diagrams attracted the power of heaven and earth, causing the power of the entire protective formation to increase rapidly. Break! At this moment, Zhao Xiu exhaled and slashed down at Wenxiang City with all his might. A violent and monstrous power exploded from his body, causing the surrounding void to be annihilated. This slash seemed to have become eternal between heaven and earth, as though the heavens had attacked. It displayed peerless power, as though nothing in the world could block this slash. The saber light descended from the sky and landed on the layer of light barrier formed by the power of the protective formation of Wenxiang City. In the next moment, the sound of cloth being torn could be heard. Then, a hole that was several feet long appeared on the protective divine light barrier of Wenxiang City. Zhao Xiu had poured in all his strength for this slash. If he still could not break through the protective formation of Wenxiang City, he could only leave with his tail between his legs. Ha ha! Zhao Xiu laughed loudly and charged towards the hole on the light barrier. He wanted to kill his way into Wenxiang City and flatten it. However, just as he reached the hole, a ball of divine light shot out from the top of the city wall and turned into 9 divine phoenixes, sealing the hole. Who dares to stop me? Zhao Xiu's battle intent surged as he shattered the void and tried to force his way into Wenxiang City. He slashed again and a terrifying saber Tao power exploded, causing a Tao tool that was surrounded by the 9 divine phoenixes to fly away. Kill! Seeing that Zhao Xiu could really barge into Wenxiang City, the Iron Blood Taoist was extremely shocked. Array, rise! The Iron Blood Taoist did not dare to delay and hurriedly executed his strongest trump card. Buzz! The void shook and Zhao Xiu's figure disappeared, leaving only a saber light in the world. Zhao Xiu charged straight into Wenxiang City. Then, he became one with his saber and slashed down at the city lord's residence. It was too late for the Iron Blood Taoist to stop him. Is the primordial antiquity Zhao family digging their own grave? Zhao Xiu's death was definitely a great loss to the Zhao family. The reason why the primordial Zhao family's inheritance could last for so long and was able to stand tall in the eastern domain was because every generation of the Zhao family had a peerless expert who led the Zhao family to contend against other forces. Of course, Zhao Xiu was dead, but the Zhao clan still had their goddess. However, the Zhao family's anger could only be extinguished with blood. Whose blood? It was naturally the Iron Blood Taoist, Zhuge Liang, and their subordinates. Zhao Tiangang was the current family head of the Zhao family of the remote antiquity. The previous family head had already fallen from power and was sent to a remote place to guard the mines. The Zhao family had many spirit crystal mines. It had to be said that this Zhao Tiangang really had some ability. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to pull down the previous generation's patriarch. For a big family like the Zhao family of the remote antiquity, the internal struggles were extremely intense. The Zhao family was divided into a few factions. For the position of the family head, these factions were constantly fighting against each other. Of course, with the Zhao family's ancestral ancestor overseeing the Zhao family, these factions would not be able to cause any trouble. As long as no one died, the Zhao family's ancestral ancestor would allow these factions to fight against each other. He could not be bothered with them. It did not matter much to him who the family head was. The 2 ancestral ancestors of the Zhao family immediately left the ancestral ground and headed straight for the Wenxiang city. Not long after the 2 ancestral ancestors of the Zhao family left the ancestral ground, a divine army rushed out of the ancestral ground. This divine army was wearing black armor and held battle spears. They formed a battle formation and charged towards the Wanxiang city like a black cloud. A powerful murderous aura spread from the battle formation of the divine army. Everywhere it passed, countless living beings were terrified to the extreme. That's the Black Dragon army of the Zhao family. What happened? Why did the Zhao family send out the Black Dragon army? Some of the older cultivators exclaimed when they saw the Zhao family's army flying across the sky. The Black Dragon army of the primordial Zhao family was the most elite army of the Zhao family. They had been through hundreds of battles and had once conquered a huge territory for the Zhao family. That direction. Is the Zhao family of the primordial Zhao family going to attack the Wanxiang city? 3 to 5 people gathered on a mountain peak. One of them raised his head and exclaimed as he looked into the sky. Wanxiang city? The Iron Blood Taoist is only a great sage. The Zhao family of the primordial Zhao family has a few heavenly venerables. Someone said. TSK, the Zhao family does not only have heavenly venerables, but they also have the mysterious ancestral ancestor. A cultivator of the older generation said. Ancestral ancestor? Who's that? The younger cultivators were naturally not as knowledgeable as the older cultivators. You're so ignorant! Ha ha! The cultivator of the older generation laughed. Please enlighten me, senior! The cultivators of the younger generation all wanted to know more about it. However, the cultivator of the older generation smiled without saying anything else. Although the Iron Blood Taoist is only a great sage, he has a huge backing. The cultivator of the older generation left after saying that and disappeared into the mountains. The backing of the Iron Blood Taoist? The cultivators of the younger generation were all shocked. What backing does the Iron Blood Taoist have? Someone was disdainful. The Iron Blood Taoist is only a great sage and isn't even a heavenly venerate. That's not normal for him to be able to defend Wanxiang city. A white-robed young man said indifferently. The other young cultivators fell silent. At that moment, the city lord's residence of Wanxiang city was filled with joy. The city lord, the Iron Blood Taoist, was holding a huge banquet to welcome Gu Fei's return. Experts from various places gathered in Wanxiang city. They were the subordinates of the Iron Blood Taoist and were all experts with the cultivation of a sage king, or even a sage emperor. 2 of them were even half-step great sages. Only sage realm experts with the cultivation of a sage king or above could oversee a region. Although Gu Fei had left, the Iron Blood Taoist's days were not too difficult with Xiaoqing's protection. His subordinates were also filled with talents. However, after Little Qing left, his days were no longer easy. The Iron Blood Taoist initially had 18 sage kings, 9 sage emperors and 3 half-step great sages. However, when Little Qing went to the Heaven Realm and did not return for nearly 300 years, many of the Iron Blood Taoist's subordinates left. Only 11 of the 18 saint kings were left, and there were only 4 saint emperors and 2 half-step great saints. Even so, the Iron Blood Taoist forces were still very strong. Apart from the primordial Zhao family and Dongfang family, the Iron Blood Taoist forces were the strongest in the entire East region. Haha! Now that Master is back, the primordial Zhao family and Dongfang family will have to step aside. Chapter 4207. This time, Gu Fei did not return for the Zhao family of the primordial clan or the Dongfang family. He only wanted to set foot on the human race's ancient road and find his woman, Gu Ling. However, he must first understand the situation in the human realm before setting foot on the human race's ancient road. The entrance to the human race's ancient road was still in the hands of the Qin clan. Back then, old man Qin Huang had some friendship with him, but he was too embarrassed to attack the Qin clan. At this moment, in the backyard of the city lord's residence in Wanxiang city, many sages had gathered. Although they had already concealed their auras, it was still frightening. The weaker cultivators in the city hid far away, not daring to approach the city lord's residence. Master? Could it be the legendary peerless savage, Gu Fei? Lower your voice. Who else could our boss's master be if not that savage? If that person really returns, then our bitter days will be over. In the backyard, the sages were discussing softly. They usually oversaw a region. They were either city lords or rulers of a region. It was rare for them to gather in recent years. If not for the Iron Blood Taoist's message to them, asking them to put down everything they were doing and rush back to Wanxiang City, it was unknown when they would be able to meet again. Is that person really that powerful? Someone said disapprovingly. Wujue, how dare you doubt our master? At this moment, a person walked in from outside. The person held a feather fan and looked elegant. It was Zhuge Liang. It's not that I doubt him, but our master should show us a few moves to broaden our horizons, Saint Wujue said. He was one of the 2 half-step great sages under the Iron Blood Taoist. That's right, only then will we be convinced, a sage at the side said. Tian Shao, what do you mean by this? Zhuge Liang was displeased. His master's strength was unquestionable in his eyes. Back then, Gu Fei trampled the demon ancestor and killed the ruler of Zhu Di. How heroic was he? Actually, the sages under the Iron Blood Taoist had more or less heard of Gu Fei's name. One should know that Gu Fei's name shook the world back then. Who didn't know him? The other saints also looked towards Zhuge Liang. There was only one person sitting in the corner, drinking by himself. Whoever dares to question master can scram! At this moment, a loud shout came from outside. Then, the Iron Blood Taoist walked in with a gloomy expression. Boss, you! Saint Wujue was shocked to see the Iron Blood Taoist. Boss, Wujue's words make some sense. You must know that in the cultivation world, the strong are respected. A skinny monkey-like saint said. Ho Xiao, you're too impudent. The Iron Blood Taoist glared at the skinny saint and said while gritting his teeth. These fellows were really reckless, to actually dare to question his master. If his master was angered, these fellows would all be finished. Boss, the strong are respected. That's not bad. The other saints also spoke up. Only the strong could convince the masses. Moreover, these people were all arrogant saints. The saints in the backyard of the city lord's mansion were all saint kings and above. If he wanted them to be convinced, he would have to bring out something stronger than them. You're all saints in vain. The Iron Blood Taoist was furious. Do you want me to show you what I'm capable of? At this moment, Gu Fei's voice came from behind the Iron Blood Taoist. Then, he walked out from behind the Iron Blood Taoist and looked at Wujue with a faint smile. Saint Wujue did not dare to look at Gu Fei at all. When he saw Gu Fei looking at him, he hurriedly lowered his head. That day in the city lord's mansion, Gu Fei had killed Zhao Xiu, the great saint of the Zhao family. However, only the Iron Blood Taoist, Zhuge Liang, Saint Wujue, and 2 other saints had witnessed that scene. The saints present did not dare to say anything. The ones who wanted to cause trouble for Gu Fei were the saints who had just returned from other places. That's right. If you want us to submit to you, you must be strong enough. The monkey-like Ho Xiao looked at Gu Fei and said solemnly. Very well, the strong are respected. This is the unchanging truth of the universe. Gu Fei looked at Saint Ho Xiao and suddenly smiled. Oh no! The Iron Blood Taoist's expression changed immediately. He hurriedly said to Gu Fei, Boss, why do you have to lower yourself to his level? When Gu Fei appeared, the saints who were sitting in a corner and drinking looked up at Gu Fei before lowering their heads to drink again. The strong are respected. There's nothing wrong with this saying. Gu Fei glanced at the Iron Blood Taoist and said, This? The Iron Blood Taoist did not know what to do when he heard this. How about this? I have a cauldron. If any of you can carry it, I'll recognize that person as my boss. How about that? Gu Fei said after some thought. All right. Saint Wujue and Saint Ho Xiao exchanged glances, and then they retreated. Gu Fei glanced at them and flipped his right hand. An ancient cauldron the size of a fist appeared in his hand. Then, he tossed it to the ground. The ancient cauldron grew to the size of a small mountain as soon as it was set up. The ancient cauldron exuded an ancient aura. It was obvious that it was an ancient artifact that had existed for countless years. However, Apart from that, none of the saints present could see anything special about the ancient cauldron. Could it be? Some of the saints present suddenly thought of something when they saw the ancient cauldron, and they became extremely excited. If this ancient cauldron was really the ancient cauldron of legend, then no one present could lift it. After all, the ancient cauldron of legend was a supreme Tao artifact. I'll do it! Someone refused to believe it, and walked over with large strides. This person was tall and strong, and it was obvious that he was a strength-tight fellow. This person grabbed the leg of the cauldron as soon as he arrived, and then he roared furiously and exerted his strength in an attempt to lift the ancient cauldron. However, the ancient cauldron did not move at all. It did not even budge, let alone be lifted. Roar! The extremely strong saint roared furiously and exerted his strength continuously. However, it was useless even after he exerted all his strength. His head was covered in sweat, and his face had turned from red to purple. No matter how much strength he exerted or how he used his divine ability, he could not move the huge cauldron. Divine light surged continuously from this saint's body, and countless Tao markings appeared on his arms. An extremely violent power erupted from his body. In the end, this saint was so exhausted that he collapsed to the ground and panted. His clothes were drenched in sweat. Chapter 4208. Apart from Zhuge Liang, the iron-blood Taoist had 11 sage kings, 4 sage emperors, and 2 half-great saints under his command. However, in the current human world, this kind of power was only considered decent. The iron-blood Taoist's power was not enough to contend against the clan of the ancients. He was even inferior to the Dongfang clan. If not for the fact that Gu Fei had just returned, the iron-blood Taoist would have to cede many more cities to the Zhao and Dongfang clan. Now that Gu Fei had returned, the iron-blood Taoist naturally did not need to cede any more territories. Not only that, he also wanted the Zhao and Dongfang clan to spit out the territories that they had previously occupied. Given his master Gu Fei's personality, the Zhao and Dongfang clan would definitely be in big trouble. The iron-blood Taoist really could not wait to see how the Zhao and Dongfang clan would react when they learned that Gu Fei had returned. Back then, the Zhao and Dongfang clan were terrified of Gu Fei after being beaten up. Back then, Gu Fei had forced the Zhao family of the clan of the remote antiquity to bow down to him. He had almost fought with the Dongfang family. If it were not for Jiang Renhuang, the Dongfang family would have been destroyed by Gu Fei. However, at this moment, the atmosphere in the Wanxiang city lord's residence was somewhat stiff. The iron-blood Taoist subordinates dared to question their master, Gu Fei. Gu Fei had made a bet with these saints that he would recognize whoever could lift his ancient cauldron as his boss. An ancient cauldron the size of a small mountain stood on the ground. A saint filled with power walked out and attempted to lift the ancient cauldron. However, the result was extremely shocking. Saint King Xiangyu, who was known for his strength, was unable to move the ancient cauldron even after using all his strength. Saint Emperor Xianyu's strength was definitely one of the best amongst the saints present. If even he collapsed from exhaustion, who could lift the ancient cauldron? Master's reputation was earned through fighting. How dare you guys cause trouble for no reason? Be careful, Master might kill all of you in a fit of anger. Zhuge Liang glanced at the crowd and said coldly. The saints' expressions changed when they heard that. They were all saints, how could they not have heard of Gu Fei's reputation? However, they thought that it was just a rumor made up by others, and that Gu Fei's battle prowess might not be much stronger than theirs. Who else wants to give it a try? Gu Fei glanced at the crowd indifferently. Everyone was silent. If even Xiangyu could not lift this ancient cauldron, who else could? A bunch of trash, aren't you going to greet your master? The iron-blood Taoists roared at this group of people. Paying respects to master. The group of people quickly followed suit and knelt down respectfully. Humph! At least you're tactful. Zhuge Liang held the feather fan in his hand and flew gracefully, as if he was the emperor of the 9 heavens who did not eat the flames of the mortal world. At this point, the sages no longer doubted that this ancient cauldron was the legendary mountain and river cauldron. Who could lift an extreme Tao treasure like the mountain and river cauldron? Iron blood brat, come out and die. At this moment, a loud shout came from outside the city lord's mansion. This is... Everyone was shocked when they heard that. Someone actually dared to speak to the Iron Blood Taoist like that? Someone from the primordial region's Zhao family? When the Iron Blood Taoist heard that voice, he was not anxious or nervous at all. With Gu Fei around, who would he be afraid of? Rise, Gu Fei said indifferently. The group of sages stood up hurriedly. Both Sage Wujia and Sage Ho Xiao were well behaved at this moment. Iron Blood Brat, what are you waiting for? Come out and die. The voice from outside rang out once more. Although the voice was incomparably old, it was clearly heard by everyone present. At this moment, two shocking auras surged in from outside Myriad Phenomenon City. The entire Myriad Phenomenon City went silent instantly as countless cultivators were extremely shocked. Previously, Scholar Zhao had attacked Myriad Phenomenon City and now, someone was here to cause trouble for the Iron Blood Taoist. There was truly no end to this. Primordial Region's Zhao family. Gu Fei muttered to himself indifferently. It seemed like the Primordial Region's Zhao family had already forgotten the pain of the past. Master, why don't we take this opportunity to annihilate the Primordial Region's Zhao family? Zhuge Liang said. If Gu Fei annihilated the Primordial Region's Zhao family as soon as he returned, it would definitely shock the entire human world. Annihilate the Primordial Region's Zhao family? When the sages heard that, they were shocked once again. One must know that this was an earth-shattering matter. Very well, Iron Blood Brat. Since you're not coming out, then let the Myriad Phenomenon City be buried with you. The old voice sounded once more. At the next moment, boom! With a loud bang, the entire Myriad Phenomenon City shook. Violent energy waves spread across the heavens and earth. Someone had actually shaken the entire Myriad Phenomenon City. Damn, could it be that the saint of the Primordial Region's Zhao family is here? The Iron Blood Taoist said with a frown. Let's go and take a look. As Gu Fei spoke, he soared into the sky from the backyard of the city lord's residence and flew into the sky. Outside the Wanxiang city's great city barrier formation, a disheveled old man was swinging a huge hammer. He ruthlessly smashed the light barrier formed by the power of the great city barrier formation. Boom! With another loud bang, the city protection formation shook violently. Countless Tao patterns interweaved on the light barrier, summoning an incomparably powerful force to block the disheveled old man's attack. A ring of transparent ripples spread out in all directions from the point of impact of the huge hammer. The light barrier had suffered 2 attacks, and cracks had appeared on it. Quasi-supreme Tao weapon? Gu Fei could not help but frown. The huge hammer in the disheveled old man's hands seemed to be even stronger than the peerless divine saber in Zhao Xiu's hands. At this moment, a divine light surged from the city lord's residence. Beams of divine light shot into the sky and arrived behind Gu Fei. I was wondering who it was. So it's you 2 old fools. When the Iron Blood Taoist saw the 2 invading powerhouses, his eyes flashed with a bright light. 2 Saint Venerable Patriarchs of the Primordial Region's Zhao family are here. Why? Do you want to start a war? Waving his feather fan, Zhuge Liang walked out from behind Gu Fei. You ants! If not for the fact that the family head forbade us from finding trouble with you, do you think that a mere Myriad Phenomenon City would still exist? The disheveled old man said in disdain. Humph! You want to destroy me? Let's give it a try then. Zhuge Liang was not nervous at all. So what if they were Saint Venerables? Back then, their master was in existence that could fight against the quasi-supremacy. Little brat, you're courting death. The disheveled old man could not help but be enraged at the thought of Zhao Xiu dying in the hands of these people. He raised the Heavenquake hammer in his hands with all his might and smashed it down on the city protection formation. Boom! Kacha! The loud sound of impact was mixed with the sound of things shattering. The city protection formation of Myriad Phenomenon City was filled with cracks, as though it could shatter at any moment. The saints behind Gu Fei had extremely unsightly expressions on their faces when they witnessed this scene. If this crazy old man was allowed to kill his way into Myriad Phenomenon City, the consequences would be unpredictable. Ha ha! At that moment, the disheveled old man burst into laughter. Amidst his laughter, he raised the heaven-quake hammer in his hands and struck with all his might. Rumble! As the dull sound of thunder rang out, the city protection formation of Myriad Phenomenon City was shattered, turning into countless rays of divine light that dissipated into the void. Gu Fei could not help but frown when he saw that. Kill! Without hesitation, the disheveled old man swung the heaven-quake hammer in his hands towards Gu Fei and the others. The heaven-quake hammer expanded rapidly. By the time it reached the top of Gu Fei's head, it was already the size of a small mountain, causing the entire world to tremble. The other saints exclaimed and fled in all directions. Bam! With a smile, Gu Fei raised his right hand gently and slapped the heaven-quake hammer that was smashing down. In the next moment, the heaven-quake hammer flew out of the disheveled old man's hands and was sent flying by the recoil. What? The disheveled old man's shock was not to be underestimated. Who was this guy to dare to take on a quasi-paragon Dao weapon head-on? A quasi-paragon Dao weapon was not something that could be found in a handful. Some people had cultivated for countless years but had never seen a quasi-paragon Dao weapon with their own eyes. You are! The moment the disheveled old man saw Gu Fei's appearance, he nearly peed his pants. Zhao Chao, you're really trash. You haven't captured Taoist Tai Shui and the others after so long? The other saint of the Zhao family was called Zhao Yuan. Both of them were the patriarchs of the primordial era's Zhao family. Their cultivation realms were extremely strong, and no one dared to offend them. Zhao Yuan, why don't you do it? The disheveled old man said coldly. Lowering his head, he saw that his hands that were wielding the heaven-quake hammer were riddled with countless wounds that were oozing blood. At that moment, the disheveled old man was both shocked and furious. When Zhao Chao, who was flying over from afar, caught sight of Gu Fei, he stumbled and nearly fell from the sky. Gu Fei? How is that possible? Zhao Chao glared at the black-robed young man opposite him, and his heart was in turmoil. It was no wonder that Taoist Tai Shui would kill Zhao Xiao. It was because Gu Fei had returned. View! Gu Fei! Zhao Chao was scared out of his wits. Humph! Go and die yourselves! Gu Fei looked at the two holy venerables coldly. They were holy venerables. But so what? It wasn't like he had not killed them in the past. I'll fight it out with you! Zhao Chao roared and channeled the power within his body crazily. An extremely violent energy wave rippled out in all directions, destroying everything in its path. It was as though the entire world could no longer contain Zhao Chao's powerful divine body. Do you have the right? Gu Fei laughed and punched out. The two fists collided and the sound of bones cracking rang out as Zhao Chao staggered back with a tragic cry. However, there was no way Gu Fei would let Zhao Chao off. With a single step, he disappeared into the void. By the time he appeared again, he was above Zhao Chao's head. Bam! Chapter 4209. The arrival of two holy venerables from the Zhao clan shook the entire Wanxiang city. Countless cultivators in the city were terrified to the extreme. If not for the city protecting array isolating the holy venerable's aura, those with weaker cultivations would have exploded long ago. The aura of a holy venerate was extremely powerful. Just a trace of it could suppress the void and make all living things bow down. This was a holy venerate. A high and mighty holy venerate could look down on the world. They could shatter stars with a flick of their fingers and swallow the sun and moon with their mouths. They were the strongest existences below the quasi-supremes. The Zhao clan had sent out two holy venerables at once. It was clear that the Zhao clan wanted to destroy Wanxiang city. Zhao Xiu's death had infuriated the entire Zhao clan. The Zhao clan, which Zhao Xiu belonged to, had lost their most outstanding successor who was fighting for the position of clan head. Zhao Xiu was also their relative. The disheveled old man, Zhao Chao, was actually Zhao Xiu's ancestor. Zhao Xiu was the most outstanding disciple in his lineage. Roar! At this moment, Zhao Chao let out an unwilling roar and fell towards a forest outside Wenxiang city like a meteor. Boom! There was a loud sound and dust soared into the sky. The entire forest was covered by the dust. A figure charged out from the dust. His entire body was covered in lightning. Every bolt of lightning emitted a horrifying aura of destruction. Every bolt of lightning was like an ancestral dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. When Gu Fei saw this scene, he could not help but feel surprised. This fellow cultivated the Thunder Dao cultivation technique. Furthermore, the power of lightning could take the form of a dragon. Could it be a cultivation technique of the Thunder Dragon race? The Thunder Dragon was an ancient divine beast, a type of the dragon race. The dragon had 9 sons, each of them different. Hence, the dragon race was divided into several major categories. Legend had it that the Thunder Dragon was a living creature born from chaotic lightning. It was extremely powerful and could hunt ferocious beasts the moment it was born. It consumed ferocious beasts as food. Kill! Zhao Chao's hair was disheveled and his body was covered in blood. He roared furiously as he charged at Gu Fei. Boom! Countless lightning balls rushed out from Zhao Chao's body and bombarded towards Gu Fei. Every inch of the void was filled with a horrifying aura of destruction. This was even more terrifying than divine punishment. Everywhere the lightning balls passed, the void would shatter and destroy everything. However, the next scene left everyone dumbfounded. Gu Fei opened his mouth and inhaled. All the destructive lightning balls in the sky flew into his mouth and were swallowed cleanly. Even the traces of lightning in the air were swallowed by him. How is this possible? Everyone found it hard to believe. Zhao Chao was the primordial Zhao clan's holy venerate patriarch. How could Gu Fei resolve the full-powered attack of this patriarch so easily? Swallowing lightning in one's mouth was too crazy. Everyone stared at Gu Fei in a daze. A layer of lightning appeared on the surface of his body, but this layer of lightning quickly disappeared into his body. When Zhao Chao saw this scene, his eyeballs nearly fell out of their sockets. No one knew the might of his move better than him. Even a holy venerate with a cultivation similar to his could not swallow his lightning ball in one gulp. Not bad. Gu Fei let out a burp. What? Zhao Chao was both shocked and angry. He was the lightning seigneur of the primordial Zhao clan. In fact, in the Eastern Domain, the experts of the older generation all called this lightning seigneur Man Zhao behind his back. This fellow was usually crazy, and when he went berserk, even Zhao Tiangang, the current head of the Zhao family, had to give way. Roar! Man Zhao roared at the sky. He was at his peak. Although he knew that his opponent was Gu Fei, it was impossible for him to kill himself. So what if it was Gu Fei? He was determined to fight him. Violent thunder power erupted from his body. Endless lightning bloomed on his body, instantly turning into a sea of thunder and lightning. Gu Fei smiled and threw a punch. It seemed like an ordinary punch, but it had the power to turn something rotten into something magical. The moment his fist punched out, all the lightning around Man Zhao disappeared. The next moment, a dull sound of impact rang out from Man Zhao's body. The clothes on Man Zhao's back were instantly torn to shreds, and a fist mark protruded from his back. This was a fist technique that Gu Fei had created by combining the strengths of various clans. With Gu Fei's current cultivation, it was naturally difficult for him to bring out the true power of this fist technique. However, Gu Fei's punch wasn't something that just anyone could block. Damn it, I'm not willing! Man Zhao's figure paused. In the next moment, countless cracks appeared on his body. Then, his entire body collapsed. Even his primordial spirit shattered into specks of primordial spirit light that dissipated into the void. A heavenly sovereign was killed just like that by a seemingly casual punch from Gu Fei. The other heavenly sovereign of the Zhao clan, Zhao Yuan, was stunned by this scene. This Gu Fei was indeed worthy of his reputation. He killed a heavenly sovereign with a single punch. That was a heavenly sovereign. Heavenly sovereigns were existences that could do whatever they wanted in the entire mortal realm. One should know that there were not many quasi-sovereigns in the mortal realm. Zhao Yuan turned around and fled. However, Gu Fei took a step forward and caught up to Zhao Yuan in an instant. Then, he threw a punch as well. Without any suspense, Zhao Yuan let out a blood-curdling scream and was blasted into a bloody mist by Gu Fei's punch. The mist dissipated into the void, and both his body and soul were destroyed. At this moment, a black cloud appeared on the horizon. The black cloud flew towards the Wanxiang city and soon arrived near the city. There were actually countless silhouettes on the black cloud. On the black cloud, there were flags fluttering in the wind and wild beasts roaring. The leader of the group was a heavenly general wearing black metal armor. He held a battle spear in his hand and rode on a flood dragon. This heavenly general was extremely powerful. The murderous aura on his body was shocking. He was an existence that entered the Tao through killing. "That's the Black Dragon army of the Zhao clan," someone exclaimed. "I didn't expect the Zhao clan to send out the Black Dragon army," the Iron Blood Taoist said in surprise. "Looks like the Zhao clan is determined to destroy us." Zhuge Liang's expression was extremely grim. The Black Dragon army of the primordial Zhao clan was the most elite army of the primordial Zhao clan. They had once fought bloody battles and conquered a huge territory for the Zhao clan. "Iron Blood Taoist, come out and face your death!" The heavenly general roared furiously and his voice spread far and wide. "What can you do to me if I come out?" Iron Blood Taoist said as he rushed over to the black cloud. "Kill!" The heavenly general waved his hand and countless soldiers dispersed, forming a killing formation. The moment the killing formation was set up, the weather changed and the sun and moon dimmed. The terrifying murderous aura caused everyone to feel extreme fear. "Kill!" 100,000 black dragon soldiers roared at the same time. Murderous aura filled the sky as an extremely powerful force gathered rapidly. In the next moment, the Iron Blood Taoist realized that his surroundings had turned pitch black, as though he had entered a world without any light. Clang! As if countless weapons had been unsheathed, countless weapons appeared in the dark void around him. Sabers, spears, swords, and halberds all emitted terrifying waves of energy. Then, the countless weapons flew towards the Iron Blood Taoist in an overwhelming manner. The Iron Blood Taoist was shocked. He used the phoenix's tribulation without hesitation. With a phoenix's cry, a godly phoenix charged out from his body and immediately protected him. The countless weapons that were slashing at him instantly turned into nothingness as soon as they came into contact with the divine fire that spread from the godly phoenix's body. Boom! In the next moment, an endless amount of divine fire exploded and instantly devoured the Iron Blood Taoist. Everyone was shocked at the sight of this. Humph! A cold snicker was heard from the sea of fire. Then, a figure broke through the layers of divine fire and charged out. The Iron Blood Taoist seemed to have turned into a phoenix as he charged towards the general. However, in the next moment, the general disappeared, and all the Iron Blood Taoist could see was darkness all around him. An illusion formation? The Iron Blood Taoist was shocked. "Watch out!" At that moment, Gu Fei's voice was heard. Then, the Iron Blood Taoist felt a sharp pain in his back. A battle spear had pierced through his body and pinned him in the void. "You're asking for death!" Gu Fei's voice was heard again. In the next moment, the Iron Blood Taoist fell from the sky and his surroundings suddenly lit up. When the Iron Blood Taoist looked around, he was shocked to see corpses all around him and broken weapons scattered everywhere. The entire place looked like a blood-colored hell. "I'm not dead yet!" The Iron Blood Taoist heard Gu Fei's voice. The Iron Blood Taoist hurriedly looked in the direction of the voice and saw Gu Fei standing majestically on a dragon nearby, looking at him. He had only been stabbed by a spear. The injury to his sacred body was nothing serious. "Thank you for saving me, Master," the Iron Blood Taoist hurriedly said. It turned out that when the Iron Blood Taoist was trapped by the killing formation, Gu Fei had made a move. With a thunderous strike, he had directly broken the killing formation. Even the general had been killed with a single punch. With a single stomp, he had killed the general's mount, the old flood dragon. The Zhao family of the ancients had been completely annihilated. The Black Dragon army of 100,000 had been destroyed. When the news reached the ancestral land of the Zhao family, the entire family was shocked. However, compared to the annihilation of the Black Dragon army, another piece of news shocked the entire Zhao family of the ancients even more. Gu Fei is back? How is that possible? Zhao Tiangang, the head of the Zhao family, had an extremely ugly expression. That Gu Fei dared to annihilate the Black Dragon army. The Zhao family will not rest until he is dead. In the ancestral land of the Zhao family, a young man in embroidered clothes standing next to Zhao Tiangang roared angrily in the main hall of the ancestral palace. Bastard! Zhao Tiangang's expression changed drastically when he heard that. He slapped the young man in embroidered clothes away, knocking out half of his teeth. The others in the main hall were also shocked. Father! Why did you hit me? The young man felt extremely wronged. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will kill you! Zhao Tiangang stared at the young man and roared angrily. The young man shrank his neck and did not dare to speak again. Gu Fei is back. With his current cultivation level, he could only compete with sages. He needed to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble. If a true quasi-supreme being were to make a move, even his two clones wouldn't be able to withstand it. After all, clones were clones, so their cultivation and battle prowess were naturally inferior to the main body of the same realm. What Gu Fei needed was his own strength. Using his clone to fight was only a temporary measure. Because of Gu Fei's return, the originally turbulent eastern region actually calmed down. All the forces were intimidated. This ruthless person was in existence that even dared to flatten the Eastern region's Devil's Den. The Eastern region's Devil's Den was once one of the strongest forces in the Eastern region. Even the Dongfang clan and the Zhao family of the primordial region couldn't shake it. However, Gu Fei had flattened the Devil's Den and killed the demon ancestor. Now that Gu Fei had returned, who would dare to act rashly? Very quickly, someone discovered that the Zhao clan and Dongfang clan's territories in Wenxiang City, which they had annexed over the years, were quietly changing. The Dongfang clan and Zhao clan's people had all retreated in a single night. That's not enough. Not only will you spit out everything you ate from me, I will also collect interest. Gu Fei said such words. He couldn't let the Zhao and Dongfang clan of the primordial region off so easily. This time, he didn't mind starting a war because these fellows were really asking for a beating. If he didn't beat these fellows up and make them feel pain and fear, these fellows would still play dirty tricks on him in the future. When the Iron Blood Taoists passed on Gu Fei's words to the Zhao and Dongfang clan of the primordial region, the two great cultivation clans were incomparably furious. Some people even threatened to fight Gu Fei to the death. However, these voices were quickly suppressed by the two clans themselves. Those who said such words were either imprisoned by the two great forces or exiled to remote areas, leaving them to fend for themselves. He's actually back. In the depths of the Dongfang clan's ancestral grounds, a voice came from a cave that sucked in and out chaotic qi. Outside the cave, there were two old men guarding it. These two old men were the patriarchs of the Dongfang clan. No matter what request he makes, we must fulfill it. Such a voice came from the cave. Yes. The two patriarchs outside nodded in response. At the same time, in the ancestral grounds of the Zhao family of the primordial region, the Zhao family's patriarch, Zhao Tiangang, had no choice but to bow his head. Not only did they hand over the territory they had originally annexed, but they also ceded 36 cities to Gu Fei as compensation. 36 cities, that was an area with a radius of tens of thousands of miles. Zhao Tiangang's heart was bleeding. This was really going for wool and coming home shorn. No one could have imagined that Gu Fei would come back. The Dongfang clan also paid a corresponding price, and the demons were as if they were facing a great enemy. After the demon's den was destroyed, the eastern domain was still occupied by demons. It was a demon valley, called the Heavenly Demon Valley. There was a heavenly demon in it. It was a holy venerable level heavenly demon, peerlessly powerful. Unless a quasi-supreme came out, no one could do anything to this heavenly demon. Now that Gu Fei had returned, after the heavenly demon in the Heavenly Demon Valley got the news, he directly contacted the extreme North Demon region, wanting to invite the demon ancestor of the extreme North Demon region to come and deal with Gu Fei. However, Jiang Rehuang was in charge of the northern domain, and in the extreme North Demon region, there was a peerless, ruthless person guarding the largest demon's den, making it difficult for the demon ancestor to leave the extreme North Demon region. Although the demon ancestor was not invited, there was an extremely powerful great demon coming. On this day, a huge demonic light rose from the Heavenly Demon Valley, breaking the void between heaven and earth. Countless demonic shadows appeared in the demonic light, descended from the sky along with the demonic light, and fell into the Heavenly Demon Valley. That is, outside the Heavenly Demon Valley, some cultivators were alarmed. When they saw the scene in the sky, they were inexplicably shocked. The Heavenly Demon Valley is unusual? The news quickly spread, and all the major forces in the eastern domain were alarmed. Ever since Gu Fei destroyed the East Demon Lair, the eastern domain was still plagued by demons, especially the heavenly demons in the Heavenly Demon Valley, who had gathered a group of demons to fight against the major forces. The Zhao family and the Dongfang family naturally did not want to fight with the Heavenly Demon Valley, which would weaken their own strength. Moreover, the Heavenly Demon Valley was against the Wanxiang city, and this was something that everyone knew. The biggest reason why the Zhao family and the Dongfang family did not destroy the Heavenly Demon Valley was that they wanted to use the Heavenly Demon Valley to destroy the Iron Blood Taoist. However, the Iron Blood Taoist was not easy to bully. Every time the demons attacked, they were repelled by him. Destroy the Heavenly Demon Valley, and then be on your way. Chapter 42:11. A golden condor suddenly appeared in the sky above Wanxiang City. The golden condor spread its wings and covered the entire sky. There was a person standing on the golden condor. It was a lady in purple. That's... Countless cultivators in the city were astonished. One should know that Gu Fei had returned. Who would dare to be so arrogant and charge into Wanxiang City on a golden condor? Gu Fei suddenly looked up at the sky under a big tree in the backyard of the city lord's mansion in Wanxiang City. At this moment, the purple-clothed woman standing on the golden condor seemed to have also sensed Gu Fei's presence. She directly flew towards the city lord mansion and landed there. No one stopped her. Neither the Iron Blood Taoist nor Zhuge Liang appeared. Whoosh! The golden condor carried the lady in purple and landed in the backyard of the city lord's mansion. The lady in purple jumped down from the condor's back and landed in front of Gu Fei. The princess of the Qin clan? Gu Fei immediately saw through the lady in purple. One should know that one's bloodline couldn't lie. The aura exuded by the lady in purple was different from the others. This aura was comparable to the old tortoises. The bloodline of an absolute expert would naturally have the unique mark of an absolute expert. The old tortoise's body had the Tai Huang's mark. The emperor of the Qin clan was in existence on the same level as the Tai Huang. He could compete with supremes and ultimate emperor realm experts. Qin Yao? There was only one princess of the Qin clan. I didn't expect Brother Gu to know me too. Qin Yao was very happy. At this moment, the golden condor in the sky shrunk rapidly and landed on her shoulder. The princess of the Qin clan. It's impossible for me not to know you, Gu Fei said indifferently. I didn't know that the princess would come. Please excuse me for not going out to welcome you. At this moment, a person walked in from outside. This person was Zhuge Liang. Why is the princess here? Zhuge Liang continued. Brother Gu, aren't you going to embark on the human race's ancient road? Qin Yao glanced at Zhuge Liang and asked. How did you know? Gu Fei frowned. Other than Zhuge Liang, Iron Blood Taoist, and the others, no one else knew the purpose of his return to the human world. Could it be that the news was leaked so quickly? Qin Yao smiled and extended her right hand. A ball of fire immediately appeared in her palm. Within the fire, a young girl knelt on one knee. Her body was stained with blood. In front of the young girl was a huge figure. This is... When Gu Fei saw this, he was immediately moved. The young girl that appeared in the flames was Gu Ling. From the looks of it, she was fighting with some kind of powerful creature, and the situation was not optimistic. When Zhuge Liang saw the figure in the flames, he was immediately shocked. That was young Master Gu Ling. Had young Master Gu Ling met with danger? How did you get this image? Gu Fei's voice turned cold. This is a piece of signal fire. I accidentally intercepted it. Qin Yao withdrew her right hand, and the flames on her hand disappeared. When did this happen? Gu Fei's expression became even colder. 3 days ago. Qin Yao didn't waste any time. 3 days ago. Gu Fei muttered to himself. The message was sent 3 days ago. 3 days had passed. What happened to Linger? What he could be sure of now was that Linger was still alive and not dead. Gu Fei had already prepared a backup plan before Gu Ling and the others stepped onto the human race's ancient road. If Gu Ling and the others had fallen, he would know immediately. Zhuge Liang, go and prepare immediately. I want to flatten the Heaven Devil Valley. Gu Fei didn't want to wait any longer. Yes, master. Zhuge Liang hurriedly accepted the order and left. You want to destroy the Heaven Devil Valley? Qin Yao couldn't help but be shocked when she heard this. The Heaven Devil Valley was not simple. It had the support of the extreme North Devil region, and even the primordial Zhao clan and the Dongfang family were very wary of it. Is there a problem? Gu Fei looked at Qin Yao and said indifferently. There's no problem. Qin Yao said. Gu Fei wanted to flatten the Heaven Devil Valley. This was a big matter. She had long heard that the East Region Devil Lair was destroyed by Gu Fei. Even the Sky Ruin Forbidden Ground was destroyed by Gu Fei. This time, he had just returned and he wanted to start with the Heaven Devil Valley. If this news spread, the whole world would be shocked. Do you know where Linger is? Gu Fei probed. I don't know, but I know who the guy fighting with your daughter is. Qin Yao said after thinking for a while. Oh? Who is it? Gu Fei asked. Someone actually dared to attack his daughter. He deserved to die. Primordial Ancestral Star, Celestial Race. Qin Yao said directly. Primordial Ancestral Star? Gu Fei couldn't help but be shocked when he heard this. Ling actually successfully went to the Primordial Ancestral Star? That was one of the 5 great ancestral stars of the human realm. This was just the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star. Among the 5 great ancestral stars, the most mysterious one was the Primordial Ancestral Star. Celestial Race? I hope Linger is fine. Otherwise, this race doesn't need to exist anymore. As Gu Fei said this, a cold murderous aura spread out from his body. Qin Yao felt the murderous aura from Gu Fei and couldn't help but be shocked. She seemed to see a horrifying hell from Gu Fei. First, I will destroy the Heaven Devil Valley, then I will step on the ancient road of the human race. Gu Fei stood up and took a step forward. In an instant, he disappeared into the void. Let's go and watch the show, Qin Yao said as she flew up. The golden eagle on her shoulder soared into the sky and instantly grew bigger.